Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the GT New Zealand Championship. It is the 3rd of August, and it is time for us to begin the latter half of this series. It is round 4, and today we take the Toyota GR010s to Le Mans in probably the night time. We'll show you soon. And then in race 2, we'll be taking the Lexus LC500s to Daytona for an official night race. Welcome in, of course, to everyone who is watching here on NZ Sim Racing TV. My name is George Cook, on behalf of TrackSpotTV, bringing you today's broadcast. And of course, alongside me, as always, it is Matthew Smith. Matthew, it is the second half of the season, as I mentioned. Things are looking strong for Matt McEwen, and this is quite the combo we've got tonight.
Absolutely right. Thanks, George. Yeah, it has been a big first half of the season. We're getting set for the second half with an iconic combo. The Le Mans cars, or the hypercars, in the World Endurance Championship at Le Mans. That is going to be mega, and a little bit of a different strategy combination tonight. Racing hards required, but you've got choices how you use them, when you use them, how long you use them, because you can go on the mediums and the soft if you choose to. And like you say, bit of night racing is a new little twist we're throwing at them tonight.
It's going to be fun. Can the drivers survive out there with minimal lighting? We shall see. In first place, once you get to the end of this championship, the winner of the series will be taking home a real-world drive, courtesy of Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand. They'll be out there on the track for a full Hampton Downs experience with the Racing Academy. It is really exciting, the prize. We're bringing yet another sim racer into the real world of motorsport here at the GT New Zealand Championship. And of course, the hectic race moment as well. So awarded each round for the wildest save, boldest overtake, biggest comeback, or the most memorable race moment. And we have one to show you today from our SF23s, Matt.
Hectic moment of the round. Of course, the Super Formula is such quick cars. It wasn't just about being the quickest in the car, though. You also had to survive the race. Double overtake for Frelix as two cars made a mistake. And then the second moment, it's a bit of a combo here tonight. Again on board with Frelix, now lap 11. Comes around turn 1. Similar sort of situation. Two cars go off in front of him. He gets another 2 places for free. Not just about making it to the end. You've got... Oh, sorry, not just about being the fastest on track. You've got to make it to the end. What a couple of moments there for Frelix to pick up the Hectic Moment Award and the PlayStation voucher that goes with it.
Very nice. Yes, we'd love seeing it. And driver profile today will be Olaf Flesch from Levin. Clam Fever is his name. He's driving in Division 1, of course. 32 years of age, and he's part of Zandau Games Racing, Matt.
He is too, and he will have Pandemonium, the board game, all over his driver cam again tonight, I'm sure. So we might get a look at that later in the night. But this is one of our drivers with real-world racing experience. He's got the MR2, he gets out to track days, gets out to Cone Carners as well, and has picked up a championship there, so he's good in the sim and good in the real world. In terms of the sim driving, he's gained most of his experience since the lockdowns. COVID lockdowns brought a lot of people into sim racing. Olaf's one of them, and he's done extremely well since to now be racing against the best in the country.
Certainly has been. And actually, we do have a setup of the week as well, which we introduced last round. We saw Chris Whanapapa's incredible setup. And I don't know, we might have started with the best one. I'm not so sure. But this is Clam Fever here, Olaf Flesch, who we've just had the profile up for. Now, it's he's got the heat pump controls there, Matt. He's got the old copy of a PlayStation disc. It's a little different. It's certainly functional.
Oh, I hadn't spotted that. That's iconic, isn't it? The first PlayStation there, PlayStation 1 in the background. How good. He's got the PlayStation wheel as well on the rig, so he is well committed to it, right in amongst it. Love to see that action, and I think just on a desk there, it looks like, or a sort of something he's put together himself, which I think is a way most of the sim drivers get into it, right? We set up things ourselves, and then we start building on the setup, start thinking of more things we want, and upgrades. So really cool shot of him enjoying sim racing there.
Yes, the deep iceberg that is, of course, sim racing. You start on the desk, then you build something in wood, then you end up in the metallic world, and then eventually you've got yourself a full hydraulic grid. Parents beware. Nonetheless, it is great fun. Let's take a look at the championship standings as they are right now. On top, 5 wins to his name, 6 podiums, 6 top 10 finishes, 85 points. Matt McEwen, he is looking unstoppable at the moment. 26 points now between him and P2 Simon Bishop, who's still only got that 1 win to his name. Gareth Collier sitting 6 points behind Simon Bishop with Reese Davidson, 10 points behind them. Ben Groves, the young man, sitting there with 6 top 10 finishes so far and 37 points, equal to Scotty Greenless in P6. Then it's Alex Little and Lewis Atkinson sitting on 36 and 25 points respectively. Tom England, will he be more comfortable this week in the GR010s? We shall see. Amit Biswas sitting between him and Ben McDonald on 7 points, with Philip Smith, Olaf Flash and Matthew Budd rounding things out. Matt, we are going to be going to qualifying very, very soon, but give us your thoughts. This championship's starting to run away a little bit, and with 3 races left in the season, what do these other drivers do? Matt looks like he's got it all locked down, but there's still a long way to go.
Matt has been looking extremely strong, hasn't he? So far, only 1 driver has been able to take the win off him. That has been Simon Bishop, but then Simon's run into his own troubles in a few races since then. Reese Davidson came so close in the previous round at Alsace. He looks so strong in those road cars. But really the question is, who is going to be the next driver to take a win off of Matt McEwen? We've had plenty of drivers sharing that podium, but can anyone overcome Matt McEwen?
That's right, and we'll be doing the math, I think, in the next couple of rounds to see what Matt's going to be doing in terms of whether he can win this thing before the final round. At the rate he's going, it's entirely possible. We heard from Simon Bishop, of course, last week, and he did mention that, you know, he needs to put in that extra bit of prep, and maybe now he's been able to have a little bit of a reset going into this 4th round of the season. Maybe that's enough for him to start to really put that pressure on Matt McEwen. And a few small mistakes here. Le Mans, GR010s at sort of twilight dusk period. Really, really difficult to drive. And of course, anything can happen at Daytona. If you get things ever so slightly wrong, it can be over in a split second. Right, folks, we are less than 60 seconds away from the beginning of qualifying. Let us know from where in the country you are watching today. And a massive thanks, of course, as well to everyone involved in this series. It is, of course, held and operated by NZ Sim Racing Collective and NZ New Zealand Esports. Sponsored by Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, broadcasted to you today by TrackSpotTV on the NZ Sim Racing TV platform on YouTube, and of course supported and administered by Hooncorp E-Sports and Hectic Motorsport. So a massive thanks to everyone involved. We are so looking forward to seeing what is going to be happening in the next 3 rounds, and ahead of us, these 2 races going to be absolutely critical to starting that second part of the season in the best way possible. Let us know, like I said, where you're watching from around the country and the world, and hopefully we'll have a few questions in there that we can answer as time permits. Right, looks like Matt, quali is going. Now, quali mindset here, give us a little insight.
First things first, strap on the soft tires. You want the maximum grip possible. We're not worrying about tire wear yet. We'll get into the strategy discussions when we get to the race. But in terms of qualifying, you're just getting out there. You're trying to be quick. Crucially here, it's such a long lap at Le Mans. About 3.5 minutes to get around here. So with our 10-minute qualifying format we've used throughout the season, very limited number of laps you're going to get in order to set that time. So a lot of the previous rounds I've been talking about, just risk it in qualifying. You can afford to make mistakes and then you can go again on the next lap. Here at Le Mans, not really the case. You're going to get maybe 2 laps in, maybe, well, you've got the out lap, so that takes up a bunch of time. So you're probably going to get 2 laps in here, which means if you do make a mistake on one lap, so much pressure on the next one.
Certainly is, and here is the train coming out of the pit lane right now, led by Clam Fever. So must have got the memo that he was on the driver profile in 2 places today. Behind him, looks like he's got a very speedy Hooncorp car looking for overtakes already. Well, this is going to be the hectic nature of this qualifying. Now, these GR010 cars are absolutely immense, and at a circuit like this, we're talking 13... Whoa! Okay, let me put down my fact sheet for a second. These guys are going for it already. It's like they don't know that they've only got 2 or 3 laps of time to actually make these laps. Crikey, that was something pretty spectacular. We'll stay on board. It looks like Dive Cable and Lewis Atkinson coming through. So Clam Fever wanting to be the back of this slipstream chain throughout this out lap that they are on. And there's his driver camera right there. Now, this is 13.6 kilometers, ladies and gentlemen. Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans. host of the Le Mans 24 hours. There's 38 corners, so my track map is extra small today. The elevation change here, not much, 37 meters total, and you are full throttle above 75% of this lap. And the hypercars will easily do 330 kilometers an hour around here, depending on the setups. That's mostly in the real life. We've got, we might be getting close to that, depending on where they end up throughout this race today. And just giving you a little bit of information about this fantastic Toyota GR010 hybrid 2021 car, of course, featured many times in the World Endurance Championship. It's a 3.5 litre twin turbocharged V6 MR engine. It's got a hybrid front axle deployment, of course, the energy. You've got around 1 ton or so. So these cars are light, and that is not the track. He gets reset.
Yeah, that hybrid you touch on there will be critical as well. You want to try and make sure that power is being deployed. It's an automatic system, so just when you're in the range of 120 to 240 kilometers an hour, it's going to deploy that extra power for you. A little bit more of a boost down the straight, so that's how they get to such high speeds. And then, of course, in the big braking zones, they recover that energy so they can deploy it later as well. So some of these drivers would have been testing to make sure that they can make the most of that, not only like learning the track, but also learning and mastering these cars as well.
It's very difficult, isn't it? I mean, the Formula One drivers have gone through a similar thing recently. The 2025 rules didn't really have as much energy deployment technology in there. Now the 2026 cars, totally different beast. There's a lot of automation, there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of strategy when it comes to deploying that energy. Well, this is stuff that the World Endurance Championship cars, such as the GR010, have been dealing with for many years. So there is a total different mindset. Formula E is another example. Different mindset of when you use that energy. Do you want to use it on the straight to catch back up? Do you want to use it to defend or attack? Do you want to use it on the corner exit to give yourself a little bit of oomph and defend out of the corner? And you've got to be thinking very much about what the other driver is going to be doing as well. So you're playing this sort of game of three-dimensional chess. Apologies for the Star Trek reference, but three-dimensional chess, literally, where you're driving this car, thinking about your own strategy and thinking about everyone else's at the same time.
Yeah, certainly strategy is going to be a fun one later tonight as we do get onto the first flying lap here. So Simon Bishop first out of the pits, and I think that outlap was a little bit of a race to try and get around the track, get to the line and fit in as many laps as they can here in this qualifying session. So we're already just reaching 4 minutes gone in qualifying, 3.5 minute laps. So they should get another 2, doing the quick math. They will fit in another 2 laps if they have not been sluggish. McEwen opting for his usual strategy of waiting to go out last. So I wonder if he's worked it out or if he's banking on only getting 1 lap in, because he did actually pick up a penalty. I've got him on my other screen here. He's picked up a penalty on his outlap, so he'll burn that on the outlap. It won't be a problem, but it does just indicate that there is that risk involved, because if you do that on your flying lap, that's costly.
Yeah, very costly. I mean, 0.5 a second doesn't sound like a lot, but it is served in a very different way than other platforms. Other platforms can allow you to bleed off that penalty as we fly through this first braking zone. And after the straight, Simon Bishop looking on form tonight. And instead of bleeding off that time slowly over the course of a few corners, GT7 forces you at the timing line, which I believe is in sector 4 or 5. It forces you to hit the brakes, essentially. So you get a huge, massive slowdown. And in cars that have such high speed, that is costly. So on track, it's not 0.5 that you're necessarily losing. It is going to be 1 second, 1.5, and probably a couple of positions to boot. So it's a really tricky thing to balance. And there are so many corners here, Matt, and we'll be seeing a few soon with the onboard we've got with Simon Bishop, that'll show us exactly how fine a line these drivers are going to be taking to avoid them.
Yeah, absolutely right. And they've got to try to get the most out of it as well. I'm really interested to see, as we get deeper into this qualifying session, how close the lap times are going to be. Of course, this season it's been so tight, but when you come to a long track like this, there's just so much more opportunity to lose time throughout the lap. So I'm curious to see how that's going to stack up by the end of it. But like you say, they're already using these curves, already pushing the car to the limit, so I've been getting a little bit loose through there.
A little bit loose. So he's just come through turn 15. This is sector 5 right now. We'll be coming into this fantastic section here, 16 and 17. You fly in at maximum speed to the right-hand side. There you go. Slam on the brakes and get that car turned in. He's missed the apex there by a little bit. So not the best execution of that corner, I think. And then, of course, you're straight into 18. So that comes up, that braking zone, a lot quicker than you may realize when you're flying at the speeds that you're flying on. I think behind him, dive cable is there. I'm not going to be getting too much of a whiff of anything behind Simon Bishop's car at this point. Now we enter Sector 6, Matt. Sector 6 and Sector 7, the S's essentially, and these are hectic.
Absolutely, so fast with all the downforce on these cars. I was doing some laps around here earlier, and you really are just doing a little bit of a brake, then throw it in and just trust the downforce, trust the grip underneath you, particularly on these soft tires. They'll be feeling pretty happy with the amount of grip they've got. When they jump over to the hards in the race, it'll be a different story. They're a little bit more difficult, but at the moment, they'll just be loving it. These are the perfect conditions to go racing, to go qualifying, to set these laps. And then, of course, you come out of those fast S's sections, the fast curves, into these chicanes, tight and twisty, gets on the power, gets a little bit loose. We're going to get our first benchmark time, 3:27.0. So that's plenty of pace there from Bishop, and an invalid lap from Dive Cable. He's picked up the penalty towards the end.
Oh dear, that could well be through the last chicane as well. It's so painful. That essentially wipes out one 3.5-minute lap. Looks like we've got Alex Little. He's got up to second, very close. And oh, Lewis has a spin on the final part of the chicane. It was so close for him. And there you go, one small mistake, and that's your lap over. He hasn't picked up a penalty, fortunately for him, but he'll have to wait for the rest of the traffic to filter on through. He's even been reset back to the track. Game was having absolutely none of it at all. So at the moment, Simon Bishop on top by nearly 0.8 of a second. Alex Little in second. It's a great performance for him, feeling at home in the Toyotas tonight. Then Tom, 1.5 seconds back from our lead. And then Big Head Ted, so far, can't see Matt McEwen on our timing screens. Well, he had that penalty to serve, Matt, and now he's coming back through Sector 5.
Classic McEwen trick. He's gone out last in qualifying. He's found space on the track. Not hard to do here at Le Mans. And he's just doing his own thing on circuit, setting the pace, looks reasonably tidy. We'll see what he does. He's still got a couple of sectors left to go in this lap. And what can McEwen do to try and jump up the order? We did see in practice they can go a couple of seconds faster than this. I don't think Bishop's got the perfect lap there. There's room to improve. We know how quick McEwen can be, but a little bit of a sneaky strategy that he likes to do pre-race. He doesn't join the lobby and practice with the rest of these drivers. He goes into his own lobby, practices his own things behind the scenes, so we don't really have much of an indication of where he's sitting until he finishes this lap.
And he'll be finishing this lap very soon. Off to the right-hand side is the pit entry, so that's where they'll be coming. And of course, they use that just to increase the amount of space they've got on entry to these fast S's. Now down to the chicane. It's looking tidy from Matt McEwen. He's going to come across the line in a few moments' time. What will it be? Bishop is in the pits. Oh, he's absolutely demolished the field there. No, he hasn't. It's actually by nothing. 0.051. So very, very close, and Matt McEwen does go to pole position. Simon Bishop misses out by 51 thousandths of a second.
And crucially, Bishop has called it a day, so I don't know if Bishop had a moment or what's happened there, but he's gone back to the pits, so he's not going to improve. So it won't be Bishop on pole. Everyone else still out there going for a second lap to try and improve, but McEwen currently provisional pole by the smallest of margins.
Oh, wow. I think Simon Bishop will be kicking himself on that one. Whatever the mistake was, or he didn't feel like he was going to get a good lap in, you know, if he had gone again and managed to do it, then, oh, it would have been absolutely incredible. This is interesting. Through Sector 2 there, fastest from Scotty Ray, who's actually only 0.3 of a second off Simon Bishop. So Scotty Ray is actually well in this. If he can hook up the rest of the lap, and bear in mind, he's got a long way to go, but if he can hold that kind of advantage in his delta, by the time he gets to the finish line, he could actually be in for pole position. Now McEwen's gone on another lap. He's managed to get there before the timer has a lap. That means he'll get a full lap in. We do have a 3-minute qualification end timer, so anyone who started the lap 20 seconds ago or less will be able to complete that. The rest of them will be finishing their laps now and finishing qualifying as 10 minutes is now done. So these are the final laps we will see. Simon Bishop, yeah, he's bemoaning a few things in chat. We won't reveal exactly what those are, but there we go. 0.7 of a second up. These sectors keep on coming for Scotty Ray.
It's looking good for Scotty at the moment. He's got the purple sectors on the board. He needs to close it out for the rest of the lap, though. Like you say, a long way to go. He's made it through the Mulsanne straight, but really, the technical side of the track is the final few sectors of the track, so it's going to come down to this. We know McEwen was probably strong through here. He's always so good in sort of any Gran Turismo car you throw at him. Continues to improve though, now up to 0.8 of a second advantage. Scotty's on a lap here. We've seen Lewis come over the line and not been able to improve. Dive Cable critically is in pits as well. He was unable to set a lap time after his penalty that he picked up. So Dive Cable, a big name, who's going to be starting at the back.
Wow, and that's not good for Dive Cable's crusade into this championship. I believe he's sitting third at the moment, or thereabouts. Someone can correct me on that in a few moments' time, but you know, he's not had the best results so far. Oh, the sector times continue to look good for Scotty Greenless. And that's a little bit untied, a little bit of a wiggle there through the S's, but it is tidy and it is calm and it is controlled. Tom England has moved up to fourth position ahead of Alex Little, a 3-minute 27.720. Now the final section. This is where the rubber meets the road. Well and truly, can Scotty Ray hold on to this advantage? He doesn't need a penalty right now. He doesn't need a spin. It looks tidy. It looks clean. What has he done? He's gone pole. It's a 33-minute 26.2 from the man. That is absolutely brilliant. Puts himself 7/10 ahead of McEwen, and so only McEwen at this point may be responding. He's coming through the final section right now.
McEwen.
Let's see exactly what this time is going to look like. We haven't been keeping an eye on the sector times for McEwen. It could be fast, it could be slow. It's very fast, and it's another 0.4 of a second for McEwen at the end to put himself back in pole position. Scotty Ray will find himself in second overall. That's an excellent run for him. Looks like the rest of the field is done for the most part. That is an excellent qualifying. McEwen takes it again, but hats off. Scotty Ray, what a lap that was.
And that was critical, wasn't it? Those second laps out there, getting the space and not making the mistakes when you're absolutely pushing to the max. Scotty Ray producing a lap, beautiful to get up there. And McEwen, as always, doesn't seem to feel the pressure at all. He improves on his first lap the second time around. 3:25.8. He was close to perfection there.
Wow, very, very close. And I have to admit, Scotty Ray's timings, it just kept going purple. More and more and more purple. It was extremely impressive there. And so he's a real contender. I mean, Simon Bishop will be really upset with the fact that he's missed out on that final lap in quali. Clearly, the conditions improving quite dramatically. We saw basically a second and a bit of improvement on track. Which is quite a lot. I think must have been something changed in terms of either the circuit or maybe these soft tires finally ended up in the right window.
Yeah, there's a bit of getting the car in. There's a bit of getting your own eye in as well. When you go out in those qualifying sessions, you need to just make sure you've found the limit. Of course, they were all doing practice beforehand, so you'd expect that from the top drivers. They'd be able to go out and do it in one lap, like Simon Bishop, who just went out there, did it in one. But there's always a little bit of a case of a little bit of the jitters. Just get into your rhythm. And we saw that, you know, that the drivers that were able to keep improving were the ones that came out on top.
Exactly. Your qualifying grid for the upcoming race, 12 laps at Le Mans. It is McEwen on top, followed by Scott Greenless. Simon Bishop starts in third alongside Tom England. Then Alex Little and Ben Groves round out the third row of the grid with Big Head Ted and Supra Amit Biswas in the fourth row of the grid. Then it is Crimson and Clam Fever in P9 and P10, followed by Lewis Atkinson, who had that spin, and then Scar, who returns to us this week in round 4, followed by Dive Cable, whose qualifying was not valid at all. So unable to set a lap time, and he'll be starting down the back of the grid. Right, well, we have plenty to talk about there, but first let's talk a little bit about the strategy, Matt.
Absolutely. This is a different one. We've just got one required tire, racing hards. And really, that's the tire you don't want to be on if you could avoid it. But since they can't avoid it, they're going to have to put it in there somewhere. We expect the strategy with the 2x tire wear, 3x fuel. So the 2x tire wear means the racing softs don't really last the whole race, but that might still be the tire to start on. That might still be the tire to go for. They'll last probably about 8 laps if you take care of them. And then you're going to have to switch onto the hard tires and use those. Typical Gran Turismo strategy, you might see them do 1 lap, but I think the pit lane here takes so long that they are actually going to have to run those hard tires for multiple laps. And so there could be a bit of different strategy. Do you start on the hards? Do you start on the softs and go on the hards later? And that will lead to a big speed difference potentially.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be very, very interesting to see exactly who's starting on what tire. Let's see you down there on the racetrack. Right, here we go. False starts will be penalized as always. McEwen will lead us from Scotty Ray. 12 laps, and I can already see a bunch of different tires on the grid. 4 lights are on, 5 lights are on. And round 4 begins right now. Off the grid we go. McEwen's had a decent launch. There's a whole bunch happening behind us. Looks like Lewis Atkinson may have had a good start. Alex Little had a bit of a poor start there. He's losing positions. Big Ed Ted up some. Tom England as well, losing positions rapidly into this first braking zone. Very tricky. It's where the cars go from 3 wide down to 1 wide. They have to be single file through there or risk a spin, risk a penalty. So McEwen overtaken by Scotty Ray into that first corner, Matt. Huge news.
Scotty to the lead, and he's got the advantage. Simon Bishop putting the pressure on McEwen now as well. We've seen this before where McEwen can lose out at the start, but he stays focused, he keeps his head down. This is the opportunity though for the other drivers. They need to get past. We know how quick McEwen can be once he's in the lead, but if you can hold him up for a little bit longer, if you can hold him up for a few laps, a few extra corners, that can help your chances. Just to comment on Adam dropping down a couple of places, he was one of the drivers who started on the hard tyres, so he's losing spots early as Bishop does use the slipstream and gets through. So we didn't see it much in qualifying, but in the race, this slipstream going to be critical, and that is our first indication of it.
Wow, fantastic stuff. It looks like same tyre between Bishop and McEwen to start off with. But yeah, this slipstream is going to be key. It's going to basically create and give us overtakes constantly throughout the straight. Scotty Ray, if he ends up escaping these guys, they're not going to necessarily have the slipstream to catch up, and especially if they're fighting for position. Here's another opportunity into the second chicane. Will Matt McEwen play it smart and not go for the overtake? Yes, he does. Behind them, Big Ed Ted and Alex Little are nearly going side by side, but Alex backed out of that one. With Atom and Lewis, the teammates at Hooncorp Esports, rounding out the top 7 in the grid. Then I believe we've got a bit of a gap behind us to Crimson. So no accidents so far, but at the back of the grid, I tell you what, things are all about to start happening. Ben Groves in the slipstream, pulling out to see if he can catch Amit Biswas napping. Crimson there, trying to just pray, I think, at this point. There's going to be nearly 3 wide into the really tricky braking zone. Down to the left-hand side, Slide Ben does manage to pull out of it, but that's a good overtake from Amit Biswas.
And this is really the difference between the soft and the hard tyres. Of course, down the straight doesn't make a difference, but they get to the corners. Crimson onto the hards, having to try and defend and hang on to those soft tyre runners behind him who want to get through as quickly as possible and make the most of the advantage they've got in terms of the tyre difference. There's a big delta between the soft and the hard tyres. It looks like there's just a couple of drivers. So we've got Adam, we've got Crimson on the hard tyres as well. Most of the field on the softs.
There we go. We're just seeing Dive Table making a few positions as well. I believe he's on the racing soft tyres moment for Big Head Ted. That is a scary one as well. Alex Little will have him pipped off the corner for that one. That yellow signal there, by the way, that is the penalty line. That is where they will start to serve these penalties. It'll become increasingly critical throughout the remainder of this race. Tom England and Lewis Atkinson going side by side. This is critical for the hard runners. They really do want to be in front as much as possible. Hold up the soft runners, but oh, Tom runs deep wide. He's completely lost it.
Teammates again get close.
And he's not the only one. Down back there, I believe we've got Supra, knows that Crimson. These guys were off as well, but no one as bad as Tom England. And Matt, he's got engine damage. He's in trouble.
Yeah, that is hugely costly. He has dropped right out the order. He was doing so well on those hard tyres to be holding it down in 6th, not losing too much time. And then a big moment, hard contact with the wall. The engine damage will repair, but it's certainly cost him a lot of time, hasn't it, in the meantime?
It certainly has, and look, he's got Super right on him. Crimson ahead, and oh, that's an awkward overtake, but he's done it cleanly. Looks like Crimson was very awkward into that corner, so Tom has got so much work to do, but he's on the right tyre to get that sort of work done. Meanwhile, back at the top, it is Scotty Ray, Matt McEwen, Simon Bishop still leading Alex Little from Big Head Ted. These 5 starting to look like they're getting into there. Oh, I was about to say into their flow, but Simon Bishop manages to find the gravel and the grass and do a little bit of lawn mowing, picks up a penalty for his troubles. Alex Little will go on by, and Bishop's chance to keep toe with Matt McEwen now starting to disappear slightly as they go side by side down the first back straight.
And he's lost that spot to McEwen in the process as well. So it's really come unstuck a little bit for Bishop. He was so frustrated last week after making a mistake in the Super Formula cars all on his own. And now he will be frustrated again in the helmet and having to really work hard for it as a result.
Gee whiz, so you see that lovely cutback maneuver there from Simon Bishop. Smart racing to keep him side by side, keeps him in the slipstream, and of course keeps Matt McEwen directly ahead of him. So if there's any wisp of slipstream to be had, it's going to be his, and this should give him the opportunity to break late on the racing line and take that position back from Alex Little, who's probably going to pull out of it. Yeah, there we go. Alex Little decides to back out of this one. In the meantime, let's talk about Scotty Ray. 3 seconds to the good of everyone else.
Mega job, isn't it? 3 seconds ahead of McEwen is always a good day. How long can he hang on now? Because McEwen will be hunting him. We're only 2 laps into a 12-lap race. It's a long race here at Le Mans, so there's plenty of time to come back. But so far, Scotty doing everything right.
Exactly right. Let's see what's going to happen later in this race. We are on lap 2. It's a long race, 3.5 minutes a lap, and these drivers have to use that hard tyre. Most of them are on softs, so they will have to come into the pits at some point. When they do, that's going to be absolutely key. Today we do have 8 times variable weather as well. That means that time is accelerating with 8 times faster than normal. That is a key thing to note. So track conditions can change very, very quickly. And, you know, one lap, you've got a corner that you were able to go full throttle through, and then suddenly you're finding that you're going to need to be lifting off. So the driver's attention to detail today on the track conditions is going to be a critical factor in these hypercars that we've got out on track. Looking further down, Big Ed Ted starting to drop off a little bit from these guys. Alex Little does manage to get back ahead of Simon Bishop, who serves his penalty in Sector 5, and Big Ed Ted maybe an opportunity here to rejoin this battle for third place. And coming into the S's section, very tricky in that dirty air that they're going to be receiving, and maybe that's, whoa, that's very close to the edge. That's where Tom England had his problems. I tell you what, I'm not jealous of these guys at all at the moment. I'm jealous that they're this good at driving in this game, Matt, but this is a tricky combo, and Le Mans is always such a challenging circuit.
Oh, it certainly is. And when you're this close to the other cars as well, being, you know, in the middle of that sandwich there, keeping the eye on the car in front, trying to deal with the dirty air, but also trying to look in the mirror and keep track of where the car is behind you as well, because we saw he was looking for a move, looking left and right. So you have to be aware of that. Make sure you're not sort of getting in their way or going to cause trouble if they do go for that big send. So having that awareness as well as tackling this track at the same time, certainly hats off to them.
And looks like Atom has ended up even further off the back of the pack. I think he may have pushed it too hard somewhere and gone off, because he was fighting with Supra and Crimson, but unfortunately now seems to be way off the pace. Well, certainly not in terms of lap time, but he's nearly 7 seconds behind the rest of the field. So something else has happened to Tom England today. He's been running a very funny meme in the background of his garage. At some point, we'll pull that up later in the stream. But for him, today is not looking great. And the real battle that's happening on track so far has been Bishop versus Alex Little. Racing softs, and another opportunity for Simon Bishop. Comes on through into this braking zone. So this is the first braking zone in after these long straights. Very tricky to get it right. You run a little bit too wide there over that curb. You will pick up a penalty. Best sector for Simon Bishop. And the slipstream going to be helping with that, of course. Ahead of him now, 3 seconds gap to McEwen. And it's amazing, isn't it, Matt? These guys able to have so much pace out the front, Scotty Ray and McEwen, and yet not needing the assistance of a slipstream.
Yeah, like, there really is just that little bit extra speed that they're able to produce. They're just at one with these cars, at one with this track, finding the edge. And certainly this battling will not be happening. We're seeing Bishop really pushing quite hard, running wide on a few of these corners. I think that's costing him, and that's what's leaving him vulnerable. Losing these spots and losing this time, as Little is the latest one. Trying to line something up, see what he can do down the end of the straight into the biggest braking zone. Late on the brakes, and then line something up and think about where he can get a move. Of course, they've just come down the straightest part of the track. Now we're getting into the windy section where we do see these mistakes. So this is where Little could try and find his opportunity. He'll certainly be keeping an eye on the behavior of the car of Bishop. He would have spotted what we've spotted in terms of Bishop running wide on a couple of occasions, and he'll be lurking, looking for when that's going to happen again and when he can pounce.
Into that previous corner, it did look like Simon Bishop was the braver on the brakes, able to run really far out wide. You can see that he turns right in to that apex curve, so he can get a really nice launch through the corner. So the exit is favored there by Simon Bishop by the looks of it, but Alex Little, he's taking these shorter lines, and they are quick. You can see there, gains another couple of tenths through that corner. It's a little bit slower on exit, but it's not that much, and the slipstream essentially compensates for it. So Alex Little driving smart at the moment with these cars and putting himself deep into these apexes and short runoff into the acceleration zone, and then just essentially able to sit in the slipstream and take advantage of the fact that he's running behind Bishop. Oh, but here we go. This is where, oh, dirty air. And there we go, advantage lost.
Absolutely, the advantage of the slipstream is great down the straights, and the Porsche curves is where it probably hits you the hardest. That's what we saw instantly as soon as he got into that corner, lost out. And I think that's why we've seen a couple of the drivers make mistakes there at that corner on the first lap. They just weren't ready for it. Had been doing all those laps in qualifying and in practice trim where they didn't have a car in front of them, and then all of a sudden we got to the race, you've got a car in front of you, don't have the downforce, the car understeers wide, and you end up out in the gravel. So I think that's perhaps affecting them more than some of the drivers were ready for.
Yeah, indeed. And so fastest lap at the moment with Scotty Greenless. That's a 3:27.8, so we're still a couple of seconds off the ultimate qualifying pace that we've seen before. Update here on Gareth Collier, who's been doing well. There's his driver camera as well. Good to see. And he's being chased down by Ben Groves. So the young man, Ben Groves, he's raced in karting, he's raced in all sorts in real life, and he's a very passionate sim racer as well, competed in previous envisagements of this series here. And he is getting chased down big time is Gareth Collier. So nice sector time there from Gareth, and he'll be feeling that pressure from behind though from Ben Groves.
Well, actually, Gareth, remember, started in 13th. So he's actually come through the field to get to this point. Mega drive to be up into 7th. So while he's got someone on his tail, I think he'll be feeling reasonably confident that he's got to this point already, and he's thinking about the car in front of him as much as he is about the car behind.
There we go. It's a very good point, actually. And Lewis Atkinson is the next car in front of him. So he's become a bit of a meat in the sandwich of a Hooncorp sandwich at the moment. Well, actually, no, it's a Gareth Collier sandwich. I better get that right because I've been chewed out for that before. There we go. I've got all the puns in today. But nonetheless, the two bits of bread, the two Hooncorp cars. Ben Groves, though, if we take a look at him, I think he's on a similar strategy. He hasn't come all the way through the field like Gareth Collier has, but I believe he's on the soft tyres as well.
Yes, we're seeing a lot of soft tyre runners. It is just Crimson and Adam, I believe, who chose the hards. They're still on the hards. We might see them come in this lap. They might go one more, but they're really giving us an indication of what the strategy might be. So we are keeping an eye on those drivers as well. We'll let you know when they do come in, but the rest of the field on the soft tyres, so they'll be on reasonably the same strategy. They might pick a lap or two different. For the time being, it is really a straight fight out on track. And again, closing back in is Ben. So he dropped off for a minute there, but straight back on the back on the back of Gareth.
Yeah, indeed, all wide at the back for Scar. Glad to see him back on the track though for round 4, and at some point we'll be doing a little feature on him. Nonetheless, Ben Groves able to use that slipstream to the advantage. I thought he might have gone for a move there at 15, but playing the long game at the moment, I think, and that's the smart thing to do at Le Mans. You know, you can have these advantages. You really need to work as a group in these sorts of races. Gareth Collier, not the best entry into 16, gets the exit nailed, and then Ben Groves also still doing really, really well. Ahead of them, Lewis Atkinson, looking a lot slower than the rest of these guys.
They've closed in a lot in just a few corners, haven't they? So Lewis was strong through the chicanes on the Millsound Straight, but when they get to this back half of the track, he's looking a little bit more vulnerable, and Dark Cable already looking aggressive. He doesn't want to spend any time here. He knows he's got the pace to be higher up the field. He loves the race cars in this series. He's been really strong. He's been on the podium, fighting towards the front. He'll be disappointed with that qualifying session, so he just wants to keep moving forward. But difficult to do. Look at this again. As soon as they get to the Porsche curves, he just can't fight that dirty air. Loses a few car lengths as a result.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so aero-dependent, these cars, the hypercar spec. I mean, essentially the Formula One of I've got closed cockpit racing, and that's really close for Gareth Collier. He's trying to psych Lewis out at this point by the looks of it. Lewis gets loose on the exit. That's going to be the overtake there, and Dive Cable will go through.
Just like that, waited for an opportunity, and he was right there to take it, but it's not sealed yet.
Oh, into the first couple of corners we go. Oh, 3 wide into the braking zone. Ben Groves decides this is the moment to launch an attack. He gets the inside line, but can't get it slowed down under braking, so has to pull the car into the apex. Gareth Collier wins out, goes on through. Lewis Atkinson stays ahead of Ben Groves. What a sequence.
Great little piece of driving. I love these cars. Oh, moment in the background. I love the racing you're able to get out of these cars. And these Hooncorp guys aren't afraid to go toe-to-toe with each other, are they? Just because they're teammates doesn't mean they're putting the gloves on.
Yeah, exactly. They are putting the gloves on. Gareth Collier celebrating there. He's a happy man. He's clicked his fingers like we learned to do at school in the 90s. And there we go. He's found himself up into 6th position now. I think actually it's the opposite. He's frustrated because it's a 0.5 second penalty. So all that work has now gone out the window. It was a click of frustration, not a click of joy.
We're seeing this from a few drivers. Big Head Ted's another one who's picked up the 0.5 seconds. So there's a few places where you can really be a bit aggressive on the curbs, or if you end up running wide, particularly through that turn 8 kink that you see onto the back straight, you want to carry the momentum. But if you go too fast, you will end up out wide, and that's where it will hand you a penalty. And I think that's what we've seen from a couple of these drivers here. Trying to carry the speed, it's ended up costing them because they'll, have to serve that penalty and lose much more time than they gained.
Yeah, exactly. So Alex Little looks like he's dropped back from Simon Bishop. We're just going to creep our way up the field, what I'm hearing from the race directors and the camera operators. So 0.5 second penalty. We want to see how this plays out because we're coming up to that zone in a few corners time. So Simon Bishop has escaped the clutches of Alex Little for the moment, and Alex Little now essentially giving that toe over to Big Head Ted. Behind them, dive cable was looking close. Oh, it's Lewis Atkinson. He's gone off. So unfortunately for him, he's going to lose even more time. Simon Bishop now with the fastest lap by 0.4 of a second over Scotty Greenless. So that's impressive work by Simon Bishop. He's really put the foot down coming into this 5th lap of the race. Got 7 to go in total. Behind them, Alex Little and Big Head Ted. So we'll see the effect of this penalty in a few moments' time as we reach this penalty line. So Big Head Ted, yellow and red car, and you'll see he'll have to serve that right now. Yep, doesn't look like it, but he's just dropped about 50 kilometers an hour away from the car, and there's the gap growing and growing and growing. Was 0.1 of a second, now up to a full second. So that's how painful this can be. And we're going to watch the same thing happen. Dive cable going to be under a lot of pressure now from Ben Groves, who has gotten ahead. So there you go. It was all that hard work undone. He was sitting there above Ben Groves in the grid, with Lewis Atkinson ahead of him. Now he's got to suffer through the Porsche curves, and that's why the penalties are even more painful. You can end up behind a car, then you're going to get slowed up even more.
Absolutely right, and that's the slipstream that we keep talking about, right? That dirty air. The timing of the penalty line means that you're getting that right in the Porsche curves, which is the most toughest spot to have to deal with it, and that's cost dive cable in the end. These two looking really similar on pace through this race though, aren't they? We saw dive cable, we saw Gareth get through, make the overtake, but then Ben stayed right with him after that, got through, and now he's picked up his own penalty.
Yeah, through the final corner, he was very, very wide on exit. Ran over the gravel, which is a penalty of its own, essentially. The game very, very sensitive to running outside the track. They don't want any advantages at all, and 0.5 seconds for that, so Gareth will know. He'll be looking at that going, yes, okay, so I've got a chance still, got to get through most of this lap, stick with Ben Groves, and then I'll be way ahead of him yet again. So now he's just got to keep up with Ben Groves, stay in that slipstream and not pick up a penalty of his own. Every time they go through the corner, Matt, I'm absolutely beside myself because you just don't know. It's so quick. And a couple of pixels here and there, and we know that that's the difference between the game giving you a penalty or not.
Absolutely. There's no sort of leeway. There's an exact spot on the track where if you go all 4 wheels over, that's the penalty point. And these drivers will know that. They've worked it out. They've learned, what curbs they can afford to go over, what ones that will cost them if they go too wide. It seems to be, in a lot of places, it is a case of on the corner exit when they run too wide, they pick up these penalties. So they'll be aware of it, and they know that they are pushing the limit on these occasions. But if you push too hard, it's going to be overdone. I have been watching this front battle, and the gap did come down. So it was 3 seconds down to 2.1. Scotty Raiders with that purple sector there, back out to 2.3. So it's been a good drive from Scotty. He's not been outmatched by McEwen here. But one of the curious facts in this situation is that McEwen has actually saved a touch more fuel up to this point in this race. So McEwen's thinking the long game potentially here, sitting in second. He wants to have a little bit of a shorter pit stop, and that will close him right back up onto the back of Scotty Ray. So we have seen the two hard runners have come into the pits. So they've gone onto the soft tyres now. So they went for 4 laps. just to confirm, they did 4 complete laps on the hard tyres, so we would expect to see these front runners who are on the softs to go for 8 laps and then do 4 on the hards at the end. So it's still a long way to go before the pit, but already McEwen's thinking about that, and he's positioning his strategy to try and catch up in the pits as well.
Well, that's going to be brilliant. Yeah, so essentially these racing soft tires at this point are well beyond their usage life. You know, they're not looking particularly healthy out there. Of course, they've got closed wheel canopy, so we can't really get a good view like we did in the SF23s of the graining that ends up on the tires. But we can tell you from looking at the tire degradation, the drivers are leaning on these tires hard, and they are definitely past their good life at this point. Yeah, so essentially they're driving on ice skates or getting close to it, and to see the car behavior on all the cars just looking a little bit worse for wear, a little bit worse than it was when they had full grip and tires that were in the window. So the gap coming down now, 1.9 seconds. 7 liters a second is the refueling rate in GT7 for these cars based on our lobby settings today. So that means that if you can save yourself 7 liters, you save yourself a second. So right now, McEwen will be hoping, as McEwen's gone for a spin. McEwen has spun it at the final corner. He's back on track, so it hasn't cost him that much, but Simon Bishop, less than a second now between him and McEwen. A small mistake on the exit has caused him to go around.
Oh my goodness, we talked about the mistake from Simon Bishop in a strong position last week. There from McEwen, he had a half spin. We're going to get a replay of it, I believe. We'll see if the director can keep up, but maybe we just need to see if Simon Bishop is going to close on the back here first, because this could be a battle here for second. So McEwen's now looking a little bit vulnerable. So we'll just put a pause in that replay for a second and see what Bishop can do. This is the corner we talk about the penalties on the exit. How far do they want to risk it? Both of them comfortably within track limits there, so they're both onto it. And now onto the straight, 0.8 seconds. There might be a little bit of a slipstream here, but Bishop with still work to do, but now he's got that target to aim for.
He certainly does, and this would be big for the championship as well. If Bishop can find a way to beat Matt McEwen today, it brings the possibility of him coming back into the series and potentially winning it back into a reality. At the moment, I mean, McEwen has been running away with it. The points deficit is massive. If he continues finishing in the top 2, certainly if he wins the next few races, he will be the winner of this series. If he finishes in the top 3, well, there's still a chance for others. So it looks like at the moment Bishop's not going to go for an overtake, might be playing it a little bit sensibly on this. So I think we should probably look at getting that replay up in short order. Simon Bishop just wanted to cool down the tires as well. We'll leave it to our race directors to figure out when the replay, and here we go. So Matt, over to you.
Here we go. So this is the replay of McEwen coming into the final sector here. He was closing in. I was about to call that he was closing that gap to Scotty in front of him. He's been aggressive through this final sector. Look how much curb he's using. Little bit, but too much curb. The car gets loose, and he does recover it. He avoids the wall nicely, but it cost him so much momentum, cost him time.
Huge move, and Bishop, we've just missed it, but Bishop sending it on turn 15 down the inside line on McEwen, and he's got the position for the moment. McEwen's going to be fighting back though, so this is disastrous for McEwen's strategy. He's going to need to use more fuel. He's going to go for the counter overtake right now, but they'll be side by side coming into turn 16 and 17, where Bishop may just have the advantage. We shall see, but for McEwen, he's getting slowed down now with the fact that he's fighting with his arch nemesis Simon Bishop. Into turn 17 we go. McEwen's still ahead. Will there be a cutback and a lunge by Simon Bishop into 18? Let's see. He'll be late on the brakes, but he might try and pull it back. No, goes late on the brakes, hangs it around the outside, and gets on the power nice and early. They're still side by side.
What a move around the outside. Not easy to do there, but McEwen slowed it up on the inside. Great driving between them. The respect between these two drivers. They're so familiar with each other at this point. They know that they can trust each other. Can they trust each other through the porch curves? We've seen how difficult it has been to get through here. It is McEwen who gets to the front. And once again, it's a McEwen versus Simon Bishop near the front of the New Zealand Championship.
Wow, you love to see it. These two are absolutely covered in accolades in terms of their Gran Turismo experience, both here in New Zealand and, of course, around the globe in the GT World Series. They've represented New Zealand numerous times. especially the likes of Simon Bishop. Matt McEwen, of course, been there plenty of times as well. Right, into the pits for a couple, but look, critically, Matt McEwen is staying out for an extra lap on the soft tyres. He wants to get that speedy lap in right at the end here, but that was a slow lap of 31 and a 30, so this is costing him massively. Scotty Ray, our former leader, who's out to a 6-second advantage in this race, is now in the pits. Simon Bishop is in the pits. There's a 1 liter difference between those guys. Big Ed Ted, Ben Grove, so the rest of the field coming in. Alex Little and Dive Cable staying out for that extra lap to avoid running on those hards for as long as possible. So this, to me, Matt, is McEwen trying to essentially recoup some of that time that he's lost fighting amongst the field and making small mistakes.
Absolutely, this is a critical lap. I thought he was just trying to save time in the pits, but McEwen thinking a little bit differently, thinking smarter. He wants to have a lap on the soft tires, an extra lap on the soft tires, rather than switching to the hards. And he has been one of the he's been looking good on the soft tires, but of course we did see that mistake. So that's the risk of running. These tires are worn. You favor the soft tires, except that they're worn. So that crossover point, he's obviously done his practice, he's done his homework, worked out that he wants to do that 1 extra lap, take the risk. But this is the critical point now in terms of the race strategy. And as they come out of the pits, George, it's all been a little bit changed up here at the front.
It has been, yeah. I mean, so we've got Clan Fever and Amit Biswas in tow of Scotty Ray. They're both still on the soft tyres at this point, so they're running that extra lap as well, and Clan Fever is happy to work with Scotty Ray, doesn't want to overtake, knows that he's been in the lead, gives him a bump draft as well. So I thought that Scotty Ray might be getting held up by these guys who would probably want to fly past him, but actually getting a massive assist there from Clan Fever, who doesn't want to be getting involved too much into that top battle. That's key for Scotty Ray, who's on this opening lap, got out ahead of the traffic. Importantly, for Simon Bishop, he's still a ways back. He's got no one around him though at the moment, so this is critical moments for the race. Scotty Ray now under attack again. Clan Fever and Amit Biswas playing it safely. Very, very good. And they'll be coming in at the end of this lap. So critically for Scotty Ray, he's maintained his advantage, ended up with 2 drivers who don't want to battle despite there being no reason for them not to. This is absolutely crucial. I think for McEwen, this is an absolute disaster. He's out there on his own on worn soft tires, going for that extra lap, which hopefully for him is going to be a nice speedy one. But let's see as he comes across the sector timing line in a few moments' time. We'll see if it's an improvement, runs onto the gravel. It's not. He's a second slower than his personal best, Matt. And I tell you what, he's probably going to slip behind Simon Bishop at this rate.
I think it's still a reasonable job on these worn tires though. And up against the hard tires on the outlap, it's hard to know exactly what the difference is going to be, isn't it? And that's the drama of this moment, is it's going to be close, and then it's going to come down to the final 4 laps. Who's going to have that speed? You wouldn't expect much of a tire advantage in terms of these hard tires. Don't wear out too much, so it's not really about having fresher tires at the end. It's just about trying to make the most of those soft tires. And McEwen is looking strong on them. He is, of course, losing time to his personal best, but is he losing time to Scotty? That is the big question. And like you say, the critical factor, Scotty got out ahead of this traffic. That has made a huge difference.
Massive difference. Let's see what's going to happen. So we're going to get a couple of laps on their timing towers that are going to be not indicative. So they're going to essentially tell us the out laps and the in laps, which are going to have a whole bunch of extra time. So we're not going to know the relative pace of the hards to the softs for a while. And we might be able to recall what the difference was between those on the hards and those on the softs. If you're a Tom England, you can go pretty much as fast on the hards as you can on the softs. 0 liters I'm seeing in Matt McEwen's car as he comes into the pits for a refuel, basically a splash and dash at this point, but the oily rag is coming out of the fuel tank and some fresh fuel going in.
Talk about fine margins. McEwen has got it down to nothing. He still makes it back to the pits though, and we're going to get an eye of how he lines up. So it looks like Scotty's going past. Here he comes out. This is going to be close.
Whoa, it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I was expecting that Scotty Ray was going to have maintained a relatively large gap. It is about half of what it was. It was out to about 6 seconds, getting close to about 3 seconds for now. But this is Matt McEwen with a little bit of clean air in front of him. Simon Bishop 3 seconds down. So that fuel saving is what has elevated McEwen from being in a fight with Simon Bishop at the end of this race to instead chasing down Scotty Ray for the race win. Critical moments. And Scotty Ray, oh boy, Do we feel like he's going to be sweating in his cockpit today? I think he might be.
This is the chance, isn't it, to steal one over Matthew McEwen. It would be a huge result, and so far he looks like he deserves it. McEwen coming into that pits and doing that extra lap has just about reversed the damage from his little half spin there. So the gap was about just over 2 seconds before he had that moment, and it was 3 seconds back to Simon Bishop. So he's back in the position he was, but now it's a straight fight to the end. They're all on the hard tires. They're all on the same strategy. Who is going to be the quickest on these final 4 laps?
Oh, and Bishop picks up a penalty as well for his troubles. Luckily for him, though, he's 4.5 seconds ahead of Alex Little, so that'll come to nothing, but he won't be in this fight, at least anytime this lap or next, to attack Matt McEwen. You can see they're all separated by about 2.5 seconds on track in the top 3. Alex Little, though, he's here with a 6-second advantage over Big Head Ted, so that's a great result for him at the moment. Looking further down, Big Head Ted, and then, of course, we've got Dive Cable 3 seconds behind, so now this is well and truly spread out the field, and they're all just looking now, just going, okay, well, just got to get our heads down, get these good laps in. Ben Grove in 7th, and Lewis coming in 8th. Scar is the only one really in a battle at the moment. He's got Super and Crimson behind him. So this is going to be interesting for them. I'm imagining we don't have too many soft runners left in the field, but oh, look at the way that Amit Biswas is now closing down Scar, and into the braking zone, nearly coming to blows.
So Crimson's the odd one out in this battle. So that yellow car there, he's on the soft tires, of course, because he started on the hards, but those soft tires are looking reasonably worn by now. But does that give him the advantage? If he can sort of maintain control of his car, he should have an advantage through the corners. And he's looking left, looking right, like he wants to make the most of it.
Oh, here we go. Amit Biswas round the outside, was a bit indecisive. He's caught himself out. He hasn't hit the brakes hard enough at the right time. He ran over the curb as well to boot. And Clan Fever is now going to be the one challenging him, but Scar survives again. Crimson with the soft tires on a charge right now and wants to be up there inside the top 10. He wants to be in 9th place at least by the end of this race, and probably hoping for more given the soft tire strategy at the end. You're able to drive past a lot of these cars, and does so here into 16. Beautiful work there by Crimson. Does he get it turned in correctly? A little bit of contact between the two as Scar gets loose on the rear end and actually cuts across. That's very odd behavior from Scar. He wanted the inside line there. I think that's a little bit of netcode going on, but this has brought Amit Biswas right back into the fray. So keep an eye, ladies and gentlemen, a four-way battle for the top 10.
And it's an aggressive battle, isn't it? They're really fighting for it at this stage. Early on, we saw some of the drivers maybe opting to be a bit more careful, not being too aggressive in the corners, but now it's really elbows out there going for it in this fight. Scar does not want to give up the position, holding on to it again through the Porsche curves.
Wow, even the soft tires can't keep up with that dirty air that you get through there. But tell you what, Crimson's done incredibly well. You can see Supra just falling off the back of these two at the moment, still in a battle with Clan Fever. So Olaf Flash will be keen to get involved in this one as we start to get to nighttime conditions in this race. I'm about to enter the 10th lap. So we've got the 10th, 11th and 12th lap to go. 3 laps to go total, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are locked in an epic battle to get into the top 10. Scar leading from Crimson, from Supra, from Clan Fever. Behind them, I believe it's Tom, who is in the pits and may actually be retiring the car. Unfortunately, yeah, it looks like that is a retirement for Atom, and that is a real shame to see such a good man in the pits and not feeling like he can continue in this race. An update, Matt, at the top. So far, Scotty Ray, he's doing what he needs to be doing.
And Scotty Ray is the fastest man out there at the moment. He's extended the gap over Matthew McEwen, now 2.9 seconds. So he's just been chipping away at it, sector by sector. And he is just so quick out there. He is really looking strong. No one seems to have an answer to Scotty Ray.
This is fantastic. I mean, Scotty Ray hasn't featured too much on the podium so far this season. We know he's had some pace. A couple of not so ideal strategy calls in earlier rounds has sort of dropped him out of the results for the most part. I think it was when we went to Interlagos that he had a brilliant strategy, accelerated himself through the field, beautiful overtakes, but was on the faster tire. And then it just all came apart in the pit stop and towards the end of the race. So for him to have this kind of result at the moment, sitting in P1, ready to go, got to keep up the pace all the way through the remainder of this race. 3 laps still to go, 2.5. So technically speaking, we are well, just less than 10 minutes away from the end of the race. Matt McEwen, we know he's a fierce competitor. We know that he is leading the championship at the moment. But I tell you what, Scotty Ray, hats off to him right now. Let's see if it continues. Bishop, 4 seconds now off the back as these two, excuse me, start to accelerate away from the rest of the pack. Brilliant stuff. Checking back in on a battle for 10th. Well, it seems to have cooled down somewhat as the track does cool down. So do the competitors' heads. And this battle, although in a bit of a lull at the moment, is certainly not over. Crimson looking for the overtake, doesn't get it.
And now we're seeing the night racing coming into it as well. We'll get a look at what it looks like from the driver's eye perspective. Look at him, how close he gets in behind there. But this definitely affects your lines and your braking points, your markers that you're looking at when you're taking these corners. When this track does get dark like this, it changes your view of it, and it can affect how you drive. So they have to be aware. They knew the conditions of what they were going to be coming into this race, so they should be prepared for it. But it can be a difference between these drivers as we reach the later stages of this race now.
Indeed, yeah, you can see that. Solidly in twilight now. Stars starting to twinkle here at Cirque de la Sarf. That's a penalty. Looks like Scar had a penalty to serve, so Crimson will be right on through. And the battle entered another stage for these guys. At the top, I believe the gap has come down substantially, so we'll check in again. Oh, it's 1.4 seconds. What's happened to Scotty? He's losing pace now.
That has come right down, isn't it? So I don't know if there was a moment there through the last couple of chicanes from Scotty Ray.
I don't think there was. His lap time was exactly the same. He's doing 3-minute 30s, but McEwen has just done a 28.9. So if that's the pace he can maintain, oh boy, we are on for a couple of laps of showdown between these guys.
Yeah, I think what happened there is they are both just pushing so hard. I think Scotty Ray just get a little bit wide through one of the corners. That's why it all came unstuck in one sector rather than slowly over the lap. And that has given McEwen the sniff he needs to motivate him to drive forward, to try and chase down Scotty for the win.
This is the kind of racing that we love to see. You love to see it at Le Mans. You love to see it in the series. You love to see it in the GR010 cars. And of course, that's exactly what this series is about. GT New Zealand Championship you are watching. We're a couple of laps away from the end of race 1. We've got race 2. Scotty's gone. Scotty's gone. Scotty has put it in the wall, and his engine is dead, and everything that we were talking about is over for Scotty Ray. He will lose that position in P1. Matt McEwen has been gifted it. And, oh, he's got engine damage and front splitter damage. Oh, no. It's all gone wrong for Scotty Ray.
And just when it was looking so good, Scotty Ray has come unstuck. I believe we do have a bit of a replay of what happened. He was leading the race until this moment. Here we go. In the dark, the changing conditions might be catching him out as he tackled the curbs through the chicane. Used a lot of curb there. On the exit, got wide, tried to correct it, overcorrected into the fence. And a huge mistake, a huge moment in this race.
Oh dear, Scotty Ray, that is so unfortunate. Yeah, it looks like he just went a little bit wide, got spooked, I think, from the curb. The car didn't do what it had been doing for the last 11 laps, last 10 laps, and then unfortunately he's overcorrected a little bit. And these cars, once the rear end's loose, that's really it. Unfortunately for Scotty Ray, it puts him 4th, so Alex Little actually elevates now to the 3rd podium position, P3 overall. And Matt McEwen, well, he's got 1.5 laps to go. Unless Simon Bishop can find some pace, Matt McEwen has been absolutely gifted this one on a silver platter.
Wow, I don't even know what to say there. That is a drama. We saw a little sort of half moment on the previous lap. He lost half a second, and then on lap 11, big spin in the lead of the race. He's done it on his own. That is the worst type of mistake to make when you're just on your own like that. Obviously, he was feeling the pressure of McEwen breathing down his neck, but he had the opportunity. It was the best opportunity he's had so far. But it's so hard to get these wins over the reigning champion, Matthew McEwen.
Exactly right. Yeah, that psychological pressure that is applied by yourself and by, of course, your competitors, a very difficult thing to get on top of and to stay on top of. Hats off to Scotty. I mean, that wonderful overtake he made on lap 1 to put himself in the lead. He clearly had the pace. He was on the same tire as Matt McEwen as well. Just, you know, it was coming into turn 2. fired it up the inside, had a great launch off the line, put himself in the right position. And then, of course, once you've gotten yourself through and the leader is now falling back into the pack of vultures behind, then the leader continues to fall away. And this is the advantage of being the faster drivers out on the grid as well, the likes of McEwen. He's been able to take advantage of this, of course, a number of times. If you can get a good launch, get through turn 1, 2, 3, and potentially 4 and 5, depending on the circuit. And then you can find yourself essentially with clean air and a pack behind you that's fighting over second.
That's right. We talk about how you've got to take the opportunity at the start, get past McEwen, because you can't let him get away. And it almost looked like it was going to be Scotty Ray getting away, but McEwen stayed on his tail the whole race and kept that pressure on, and that is crucial. Staying close enough that the driver in front feels the pressure, and now McEwen might start to feel the pressure here. I wonder if he's just easing off. He saw the mistake from the driver in front of him, and now he doesn't want to make a mistake, but he can't afford to ease off too much because Simon Bishop is actually closing this gap in behind him here on the last lap and setting purple sectors. He is flying on those hard tires.
Wow. Yeah, it is gloves off time here for Simon Bishop. It was a 28.6 that he did on that last lap, so that is really, really quick on the hard tires. He's also got more fuel on board than Matt McEwen, so McEwen might be just have been saving a little bit through those first few corners where you can kind of lift and coast a little bit and sort of run the car at a slightly leaner setting. Well, now we've got Simon Bishop who's got the fuel to go absolutely full tilt for the rest of this lap. It is the final lap of the race, and another purple sector as we head now down towards turn 15. 1.2 seconds the gap. It's not over for Matt McEwen. There's always a downside to a silver platter, ladies and gentlemen.
Half a lap to go and it is still all on. Simon Bishop will be pushing with everything he has. It would be quite the race if he was able to turn this one into a win. 1.3 seconds. He can see the target in front of him. He'll probably be just out of slipstream range. He won't be getting the benefit of being that close. But now the final time through these last few sectors. Is there enough track left? Is there enough race left for him to close in?
Exactly. It's even getting hard for us to see the cars at this point. Le Mans, not the most well-lit circuit of all the places that we could have gone. 1.2 seconds. These are critical corners for Simon Bishop. He's got to get them absolutely hooked up. Bad through there for Matt McEwen. Does get a good launch though, but messes up the apex. It's not a penalty at this stage, and looks like Simon Bishop was a little bit slow through there too. The Porsche S's, if he can go through here quickly, he won't be suffering too much dirty air. So there is an opportunity, but I don't know, single file essentially through those last chicanes. It's only a few corners left in this race. Is there a possibility for Simon Bishop to bring himself a race win? It'll be the second one that he gets to walk home with, should he be able to do it. But the gap is rising. McEwen has saved everything for this last few moments of the race. 1.5 seconds. We've only got 3 or 4 corners now to go into this tricky braking zone. Small mistakes were made here by Matt McEwen earlier on in the laps. He's got to get it absolutely right and not finish with a penalty to his name. Does cut that quarter. So far looking good for Matt McEwen. Across the line we go. There's the checkered flag and it's done. Matt McEwen wins again. The silver platter has no downside today. Bishop will pick up P2. In behind them, Alex Little nearly gets chased down by Scotty Ray, who had so much pace in this race. He'll be absolutely gutted that he spun it on the back straight and lost himself a potential race win in the GT New Zealand Championship, but it's a mighty effort from him. 5th for Big Head Ted, and Dive Cable manages to recoup to 6 overall. What an absolutely incredible race, Matt, and I tell you what, one small mistake anywhere on a circuit like this could cost you.
You have to put the perfect race together if you want to finish ahead of Matt McEwen. It wasn't a conventional win, but it's a win nonetheless, and he continues his winning streak here in the GT New Zealand Championship. Matthew McEwen picks up another one and wins at Le Mans.
Exactly right. And we've got a bit of a long tail on this race, and that is because we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to finish the race completely. Looks like that has happened, but we have, I believe, one car in the pits, so we will see. I think that guy has just jumped out. It was Tom England, of course, retired from the race, and we will be able to go over now to our results, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolutely incredible race that we have had. Matt McEwen and the silver platter going to become a bit of a story from round 4, race 1. Simon Bishop, of course, in P2 with the fastest lap to his name. Alex Little in 3rd picks that up on a silver platter as well, because the silver platter today provided by Scotty Ray. What could have been? I have to shout him out. Like, it's disappointing. Commiserations to him. He raced a beautiful race, and frankly, he had the pace today. He was going to win this race. So Scotty Ray, one small mistake, unfortunately, and that's cost him big time. Nonetheless, the beautiful move in turn 1 set him up for an incredible spotlight. Big Head Ted finds himself in 5th. Then it's Dive Cable in 6th. Ben Groves picks up P7 with Lewis Atkinson in P8. Then it is Crimson and Supra who round out your top 10 with Scar, Clan Fever with a 1 second penalty to his name, and of course Tom England, who did not finish today's race. Wow, incredible stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We absolutely love to see it. Matt, give us a little breakdown of what we saw in that race. The strategy decision's key, but it's the small little mistakes creeping in that has really affected things.
Yeah, so the decision there from Crimson and from Adam to start on the hard tires didn't really work particularly well for either of them. They ended up getting compromised and having dramas early on when they were on the slower tire versus everyone else who started on the softs and finished on the hards there. Certainly you had to keep it clean, avoid those penalties. That's cost a few drivers a few seconds throughout the race, and then of course avoid the mistakes. That was the big one. Scotty Ray drove a beautiful race except for one corner, and that one corner meant that he was down in 4th.
Exactly right. Well, we look forward now to race 2. We'll be taking a very short break in a few moments' time. Will Matt McEwen get another one to his name, or will he end up getting a bit of a challenge from the likes of Scotty Ray and Simon Bishop? We shall see. The Lexus LC500s at Daytona for an official night race coming up very, very soon on the sport mediums. Until then, stay tuned. Go and grab yourself a nice cold beverage, and we'll be back in a few moments' time. Hello and welcome back to the GT New Zealand Championship, and we are, well, still cooling down from what was a very exciting race one. Lots of strategy involved and some dramatic moments, let's call them that. Will there be the same here at Daytona? Well, you know that there will be, because it has the word Daytona in it. It also has the word night race and 16 laps on sports medium tires, which is going to create some seriously interesting racing out there, especially given we're at 4 times tire wear and 4 times fuel, Matt.
Yeah, and just to confirm, it is the Daytona road course as well. So there's a few extra corners thrown in the mix, and that famous big chicane section as well that they have to navigate. But 4 times tire wear and 4 times fuel, crucially, is going to be the big one. It is the talking point. A lot of the drivers talking about it in the lead up to this round. They've been out there practicing, working out what the strategy might be, because fuel saving going to be a factor in these Lexus.
Indeed it will be. And before we jump out on track and get qualifying underway, which we're very close to, we're going to feature one more driver out there today. It is Ben Groves, 17 years old, from Queenstown. We've met him in person a couple of times at live finals events. Great little chap. He's absolutely brilliant, and he's a very fast driver as well, Matt.
Absolutely right, and that's why he's got the number 3 on the side of his car this season, 3rd in 2024. Deserves to be fighting at the front and continues to do that. But not only in the sim is he quick, he's got experience in the real world as well. Look at the long list there, and I've got another long list in front of me as well. Hill climb winner, Kevet scholarship as well. He's got experience in sprint series, endurance series, and of course, he drives an MR2, so I am a big fan of those. Love to see those. There's actually a couple of drivers driving MR2s in this series, so pretty cool to see that. But all by the age of 17, this is a young upstart who's got, I think, a bright future in motorsport ahead of him.
Completely agreed. And yeah, if you look at his racecraft out on track, he's a smart driver. His dad is incredibly supportive as well. Joined him in the live finals of NZDRS when he got 3rd in the overall championships. Great family and great to be around. So big hopes for a young man, and of course he's in the sims as well. You're never going to avoid that these days. I think it's natural that these drivers love to be on track in the simulator as well as in real motorsports, and that is potentially how you get yourself elevated further up into these series, namely the guys like Liam Lawson and a number of others. So keep that in mind. He's just been compared to Liam Lawson. Hopefully we've not done some sort of evil commentator's curse on the young man. I'm sure we can't do that. Nonetheless, we're about to jump out on track, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying is now underway. So for the time being, we're going to go down to track at Daytona. And oh dear, well, from the epic music and all that we were saying, we now go to Daytona in commercial cars once again, and the Simon Bishop liveries once again showing us that we can have fun in the simulated rigs and here in sim motorsports. This is going to be quite the round. The horns are blaring, the lights are glaring, and we're at Daytona in a commercial car. This is going to be great.
Oh, and the brakes are glowing as well, aren't they? I did actually have the inside word from Simon as well. He had some help in the previous rounds, creating some great liveries we've seen on his cars. Come to this week, he's had to do it himself, so we're seeing the Simon Bishop special on the Lexus at the moment, which is cool to see. And the great lighting we get at Daytona means that we can get a great look at all these different cars.
I would say stick to racing and avoid livery or livery making, Simon Bishop. Your skills are wasted on making cars look good. Just make them go fast. I think that's where we need to keep your skill at. Nonetheless, it provides a great little bit of fun for us watching what absolute mess he ends up making on the car. That is a brilliant mess. It's a Rees Darby comedy level mess that he's got on there at the moment. So great to see. And we'll see what these kinds of lap times we see out there. A little bit of a front wind coming down the straight, or the back straight, towards the bus stop chicane, which is going to prove all sorts of tricky. A few drivers already picking up some pretty nasty penalties from that section.
Yeah, and if you do pick up a penalty in the bus stop chicane, the penalty line is leading towards the finish line, so it does slow you down as you start your next flying lap. And that can basically ruin 2 laps in the qualifying session. Of course, this lap a little bit shorter here, the track a little bit shorter, so it's only a 2-minute lap, so we can get a few more laps in qualifying. It's not as critical to get that first lap on the board. You can make the mistake and recover from it later in the session.
Exactly right. So on board Simon Bishop for this qualifying lap, and while he's doing that, of course, Daytona road course, it is 5.73 kilometers. You've got the infield section as well, which provides some really tricky areas to go racing, hard braking zones. And I'll tell you what, the drivers will be going for it there because there's not a huge amount of opportunity to overtake. Once the cars are going, the slipstream's not going to be super effective in these vehicles today. 12 corners total. We've got 31 degrees of banking at turn 1 and 2, 31 degrees at turn 3 and 4, and the tri-oval is 18 degrees of banking. So right now we're just on the back part of the straight, so that's a tricky section to be on. These cars should handle it just okay, but full throttle for approximately 60% of this lap. And these cars, beautiful cars that we are driving today, they are the Lexus LC500 2017s. They're 5-liter naturally aspirated V8s. That's why they sound so darn good while we're on board. Nice work through the bus stop chicane for Simon Bishop. Front engine and rear wheel drive, so FR cars, 1900 kilograms in a 10-speed automatic. It's going to be fun out there, Matt. These cars are wild. And you said you actually didn't mind this one, despite not being a Lexus fan.
Yeah, that's right. On the sports medium, being the road car, we expect them to maybe slide around a little bit more, but these cars are reasonably stable. If you handle them gently, they can be controlled. I will say though, down to turn 1, which we're just going to get a look at now, difficult braking zone. This is where they're sort of the most out of control. You want to try and manage that braking. Don't stamp on it too hard because you're trying to turn at the same time. It's a difficult task you're asking of the car, and that's why we see some mistakes here already. The two Hooncorp drivers come together, and Slybean the Cat instantly back into the pits because he wants to have another crack at it. A clean run.
Indeed, and there's McEwen. Ooh, squiggly under brakes as he loads up the car and sends it into turn 1. Look, the car sliding around. It's just non-compliant. It's not the kind of car you take to Daytona. And, you know, the admins have put on a wonderful 12 challenges for these drivers. And if you can handle all these different conditions and different combinations, well, then you deserve to be the champion in New Zealand for the GT New Zealand Championship and deserve to get into that real-world drive courtesy of Toyota GAZOO Racing. Going purple again, Matt McEwen. Will it be a little bit better this lap? We shall see. Slybean found himself 0.3 of a second back there in P2. And actually, Amit Biswas has done very, very well to get himself up into P4.
He is, and there's a few drivers on a lap here on lap 2. Scotty Ray is one of them. He got 6th on the first lap, and now he's just set a purple sector here on lap number 2. So we could see a little bit of an improvement yet as the qualifying continues on. We're about to reach the 6-minute point, so there's still plenty of time to get a couple of laps in, but some of these drivers are so close to each other out on circuit, and this could compromise Scotty here, because look, he's catching up to the driver in front. Don't know if that's going to be too wide for the penalty there, but he's going to actually get the slipstream, so if he does get away with it, it could be perfect. Slightly purple, so he's the fastest at the moment, and he's going to get it tucked in here behind dive cable. This could work out perfectly for Scotty.
Oh, hazard lights are on. Hazard, I'm coming through. I'm coming through quick. This is actually perfectly timed from Scotty Ray. He will have to pull out the last moment there, so that's going to slow him down just a little bit, but it's good enough for P1 and nearly 1.5 tenths ahead of Matt McEwen. Great stuff there with McEwen picking up a penalty at the bus stop chicane. It's all the ballpark of Scotty Ray once again, so fantastic to see. It looks like Ben Groves has picked up a penalty. I tell you what, Matt, it is that bus stop chicane that is catching these guys out so massively.
Absolutely right. If you pushed hard through there, and you want to try and carry the speed because it is a big straight afterwards, but if you push too hard through there, you will cut over that grass, and that will hand out a penalty. Scotty Ray must have been right on the limit of it because he managed to get away with it as someone just gets it wrong into turn 1. I think we're going to see that become a bit of a theme here at this track.
Yeah, I think that was Big Head Ted. I think he got reset directly back onto the track, but directly into the path of Slybean, and Ben Groves just having to make some avoiding action. Well, now that we're here in the infield, Matt, take us on a lap with Ben Groves.
Right, so we get to settle. We saw him a little bit wide into the heavy braking zone before. You have this fast left-hander. It should just be flat out through here if you can get the line right. He's a couple of tenths down after what was a bit of a scruffy first sector, but these big braking zones into these hairpins are critical. Try and get it turned in, and look at it just complaining. It doesn't quite want to go at that pace. He has to just back off, then get the power down on the exit. It's a nice, smooth application of power before back on the brakes, turn it in. Again, he's aggressive. Run it wide on the exit here and try and carry carry the momentum. You really want to carry as much momentum as you can out of that corner to carry you onto the banking. And he's a long way down on this lap, 0.6 seconds down, sorry, so far throughout it. And then this section just flat out. He's not going to get any time back here because it's just put your foot down and wait. Think about this bus stop chicane. How aggressive do you want to be on the brakes? How much are you going to risk through here and try and get that reward? Because you can get so much extra momentum if you do get that line right. If you do nail the speed through here, he takes it reasonably easy, and that's that exit. 2 wheels out on the dirt. He might get penalized for that. He's lining up wide, so I think he realized he's not got the pace on this lap. He's setting himself up now to try and get the fastest run to the line to start the next one.
Very smart work from Ben Groves. Yeah, definitely looked like he backed out. I mean, you can see in these cars, it is such a tricky thing to adjust. You've just gone from some of the fastest cars you can drive on the platform over to cars that just don't want to act. They've got barely any aero. They're on sports medium tires that don't want to comply at all. And it's really, really heavy. It's double the weight of that GR010 we've just been in. The tires are less than half as grippy. Wow, look at the struggles for Ben Groves. Everyone's struggling in a similar way, trying to cut the corners as much as possible. This is really tricky conditions for these guys, and if this is going to throw a cat amongst the pigeon, this might just be the race to do it. Very, very difficult for the drivers to convert from full race spec at the tippy top of World Endurance Championship style hypercars now down into a commercial vehicle that weighs over 2 tons.
Yeah, exactly right. And they haven't had much time to switch over, have they? There's a few minutes of practice and then straight into race number 2. That makes it tough. If you've just made a mistake in race number 1, you need to put that out of your mind straight away. And Scotty Ray, perfect scenario for him to bounce back with provisional pole at the moment. So he is looking on for a strong night tonight. He has come prepared for both of the combos. And it seems like worked out exactly how far he can push the limit of that final chicane, because again, he gets away with it there.
Oh, I mean, by the skin of his teeth. Oh boy. I mean, that was as close as you come. Alex Little puts himself up into P2 ahead of Matt McEwen as well. So Matt's got to find a good lap. It is going to be the final lap for him, and he's already down on his time, so may not have got the qualifying that he's looking for. Also, just noting in chat, we've got F1 D3LT saying, sorry lads, I'll be back making his paints next week. Thank you. We can't wait for you to return. Please, please make sure that you do that livery for him next week, because he's not very good at it. But you are. You've done some excellent livery so far. Across the line, Matt McEwen, no improvement, is P3 at the end of qualifying.
Wow, so not even on the front row there. I don't know if we've even seen that this season. He's usually so dominant, so well equipped in qualifying, always up there. McEwen down in 3rd at best. I don't know if there's any other drivers on a lap, but potentially starting on the 2nd row, heading into a dangerous turn 1.
There we go. Yeah, looks like everyone else is back in the pit. So Scotty Ray, he qualified 2nd in race 1. He's qualified 1st in race 2. Potentially, this is Scotty's evening tonight. McEwen in 3rd. Ben Groves improves to above Gareth Collier to 4th position in this race. So a great improvement from Ben Groves. He'll start on the 2nd row of the grid alongside Matt McEwen. But Scotty Ray take another bow in that beautifully liveried LC500. I tell you what, it is going to be a race to behold tonight. These drivers are going to be dancing on the edge of penalties all race long. Right, we'll go to our results in a few moments' time, but we'll be getting this race started as soon as possible, because I'll tell you what, I am really keen to see what's going to happen down into turn 1, Matt.
Absolutely right. What's going to happen into turn 1? They're going to have to be careful. It's a tight one there with that. I was talking about that tricky braking zone where you're trying to turn and get on the brakes at the same time. That's going to be tough, as they all are going to barrel in there at the start. But also we're going to start talking about the race strategy as well, in terms of trying to save that fuel to minimize the pit stops. So it's going to be a real different ball game when they get into the race situation to what we've just seen in qualifying.
Yeah, so what is the strategy here? I mean, they're forced to use the sports medium, so there's no question about the strategy. Really, this is all about your pace and all about your ability to avoid those penalties and drive cleanly. So down into turn 1, I mean, they're inevitably going to be 3 wide, let's be honest. It's going to happen. So anyway, let's have a think about that while we look at our results. Scotty Ray will start at the top spot with a 0.950. Alex Little, the good qualifying from him as well, puts himself 57 thousandths of a second above Matt McEwen, who wasn't able to hook up the lap that he wanted. So third and fourth will be McEwen and Ben Groves, and it'll be Gareth Collier and Simon Bishop lining up on the third row of the grid. It'll be Amit Biswas with one of his better qualifyings of the season so far, alongside Big Head Ted on the fourth row of the grid. Then it'll be Lewis Atkinson and Scar on the fifth row. Crimson and Clan Fever will round out the grid in P11 and P12. Unfortunately, we do have to report that Tom England has been unable to continue tonight's racing, so he will return for round 5, and we look forward to seeing him back there for that. In the meantime, Matt, the question's back to you. What are we going to see out there today?
Yeah, well, actually, one of the things I noticed in qualifying, obviously a great result from Scotty and Alex, but Reese, who's usually so good in the road cars, down in 8th position in qualifying, so he's a little bit out of position. I wonder if we might see him move forward during the race, much like we saw Dive Cable in race number 1. But certainly it's going to be a case of trying to get through lap 1, the tight section that they're going to be heading into straight off the bat, into those chicanes, the big braking zones. Going to have to be careful there for them all to get through. And then once that's through, settle into your rhythm and try and save fuel, really. Tuck into behind the car in front of you and see what you can do about going as long as you can in this race, because we're expecting they're going to need one pit stop for to get onto those fuel, to change fuel, or they might need 2 depending on how hard they push it.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, we'll be keeping a very close eye on what happens with people's tires. We'll see you out there on track in a few moments' time. Well, here we go. Daytona, 16 laps ahead of us. This will be the end of the beginning of the second half. 5 lights are on for the series. And away we go. It's a decent launch for some. A little bit hard to tell. I think that is Simon Bishop with a mega launch. Big Head Ted trying to get up on the inside as well, but he's not going to be able to. Scotty Ray leads us away into turn 1. They're already 3 by 3 as Alex Little, Bishop and McEwen all go side by side. It is Bishop who's on the inside line, does make contact though, and oh, it's messy through turn 1. It's what we expected. Scotty Ray still in the lead with Matt McEwen right behind him, and then Lewis Atkinson manages to find himself up in P3. Great effort there. Little and Bishop now going side by side, the orange KFC liveried car with Simon Bishop's face slapped all over it, trying the inside line as the horns begin. We expected to see this and hear this. Dive Cable trying now to basically time his overtake. He might be able to launch it down into turn 6. Not really able to. A little bit of contact between the two as Bishop is still side by side with Alex Little. That leaves the top 3 starting to run away with it. But I tell you what, Scotty Ray, he is leading the race, and McEwen right on his tail as we now barrel onto the oval section for the first time. Brilliant start for Scotty Ray. This is exactly what he wants, as there was chaos once again in the back of the pack.
Off the line, McEwen got a bit boxed in there. He actually got a good jump, but he had nowhere to go. But as they headed down to turn 1, it meant he was on the inside line, and I think all those drivers on the inside managed to do well. Out on the outside, Simon Bishop pushed wide, and that ended up being not the position you want to be in. So they've lost position going around the outside of turn 1, and now having to try and recover from that. Early doors, though, Scotty Ray looking strong out in front.
Great to see he's still got the pace, and he showed it in qualified P1, used the slipstream very, very effectively. Hazard light still on, so he's just trying to psychologically tell the rest of the competitors, don't overtake me. I'm a danger out there on track right now in P1, but we see the slipstream in effect. And this could be over very soon. Well, certainly he will be back into P2 or P3 as a result of this. There goes Lewis Atkinson, though, on Matt McEwen as they pass the start-finish line for the first time onto lap 2 now with Lewis. He's leapfrogged them all. What a run from Lewis, but he's on the outside line into the braking zone, so Scotty Ray will naturally have the advantage, does manage to get it parked on the apex beautifully, so that's going to be a defense from him, but Lewis gets a good run out of turn 1. Turn 2, he's got, or turn 3 I should say, he's got an opportunity, but Scotty Ray goes defensive. That's a smart thing to do, playing it smart.
Lewis, who has been so strong in the past, number 2 on the side of his car. He was runner-up in the previous running. He's been so strong, but this year he's been a bit hit and miss. He's had a few races where he's been sort of in the midfield. He's been low and down. He actually qualified down in 9th already, up to 2nd. He's looking so strong in the race trim in this Lexus. So close to the front of the pack. Can he make a move to get through into the lead as well?
Potentially, and yeah, it's great to see that Lewis has found some pace, and funny to see him find pace in the Lexus LC500. That's a bit of a slide as they exit the infield section through turn 6, and that's penalty, a 1-second penalty for his troubles. And that's the problem, you go to that inside line too much, it's technically off the racetrack.
Oh, that is pain, because look how close everyone is behind him. 1 second is going to cost him so much track position this early in the race. It really is a close run thing between the whole top 6 or 7, I think, there.
Yeah, indeed. A little bit of a concertina effect as we head into the bus stop section. And that is, of course, Simon Bishop has made the move beautifully. I actually don't know quite where he's done that. Don't think it was into the braking zone. Maybe it was into the braking zone of the bus stop chicane there. But Simon Bishop elevates himself into 3rd position every time I look at that livery. I just start to chuckle. Very detrimental to my commentating ability, turned out. Lewis going for the move, but unfortunately the 1-second penalty is going to serve it right now, and there we go. That's 1 position, there's 2, there's going to be 3, potentially 4 as Dive Cable finds his way up to the rear bumper. Dive Cable going for the inside line. Oh, a little bit of contact into the braking zone. Dive Cable so keen to get that maneuver, brings Alex Little into the conversation. Wow, and Lewis Atkinson is very, very wide there, so he'll lose those positions anyway, unfortunately. Dive Cable's got another opportunity now on Matt McEwen, so this is really changing up the field. I mean, I don't think we've seen a field this condensed on lap 3 for a while as Dive Cable makes the move. Matt McEwen runs wide. Great camera shot of turn 3, and there we go. Dive Cable moves up into the podium positions.
They're all stuck to each other, aren't they? These long straights in the banking sections of Daytona. They are actually getting a bit of slipstream and keeping close between them. And sending moves in unexpected places. My goodness.
That is Alex Little, and he sent it from Antarctica on that one. Fortunately, not too much contact between the cars, so everyone able to adjust for what's going on. Behind them, Ben Groves getting mixed up with the likes of Alex Little and Lewis Atkinson as well. The Big Ed Ted now being brought into this. Absolutely brilliant stuff right now, and these guys will have to figure it out as we do get, I believe that is Sly Ben the Cat. Yeah, Ben Groves on the upper part of the circuit. Standard to see this kind of thing in NASCAR. You see it all the time. In fact, there's a really good strategy of using the side slip to get a little bit of an advantage, but Lewis Atkinson not going to be backing down. They've had they've got Alex Little just in front of them. That's not a lot of time to sort this out. Oh, somehow they do it. Jeez, these guys are absolutely brilliant.
One of the stories developing at the moment as well, as we are on lap 3, we're starting to get a picture of it, the fuel situation. So McEwen, one of the drivers who's trying to save the most fuel, and Alex Little actually is another driver. We saw it in the previous race, and we've seen it a few times this season, quite adept at saving fuel. So those two have got the most. It seems that Simon Bishop is the one who's going for it the most. He's using the most fuel, and he's used it to get to the front of the pack. So I think that's a bit of a factor in the speed difference, is how aggressive they're being on the loud pedal.
Exactly right, and another very glorious view of the livery that shouldn't have ever been. Scotty Ray now lost the lead to Simon Bishop, and we missed that slightly on camera. I think it's happened on the exit of the bus stop chicane. So Simon Bishop, as you mentioned, using a bit of extra fuel there, but nonetheless put himself up into that P1 position. I'm not sure if track position really means that much here. I think it is going to come down to the fuel alone.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a factor of whether you're going for the 1 stop or the 2 stop. I'm just trying to do the maths in my head, because we're 3 laps into this race. You need to make it to lap 8 if you want to do a 1 stop strategy. If it does become a 2 stop strategy, there still is a benefit of saving fuel in terms of having a shorter pit stop. But if you can save yourself a pit stop, that will be about 20 seconds that you'll be saving. So you can afford to go slow if it means that you're going to save that much time by doing 1 less pit stop. But I'm not sure that any driver is really saving that much fuel. I think it's just a case of saving a bit extra to spend less time stopped as they're approaching sort of 50% used. They're not quite at that level yet, but they're approaching 50% used. And what are we? Oh, we're approaching the end of lap 4, so it could still be on. Actually, we're just trying to work this out on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. We always warn against commentators doing math on stream because it always ends up badly. But Matt, I trust in your ability to do some good maths on stream. That's part of the reason why we brought you in here, because I can't. I can tell you that right now. That one you get for free. Gareth Collier a little bit wide through the bus stop chicane, but yeah, as we mentioned, fuel going to be a critical factor here tonight. And so Scotty Ray now being caught up by Matt McEwen. And at the end of the day, this kind of race, if you want to stay with the pack, which is what you've got to do at Daytona, you have to adjust your strategy to what others are doing around you. If you're just going to go and save all the fuel in the world and try and make it up in the pit stop, you might find yourself in a world of hurt out of the slipstream. Nice bit of advantage here for Matt McEwen, sets the fastest lap of the race and then gets it immediately taken away by Gareth Collier. Into the braking zone we go. It's very, very tight, and Scotty Ray trying to slow down that car, puts it right in the middle where Matt McEwen's car is. Also, a little bit of tidbit of information here passed down by Nathan Howe, our league administrator at Hooncorp E-Sports, which I will give it to you shortly because Matt McEwen's gone for it. Another great shot here. And no, sorry, Scotty Ray gone for it. There's the horn of frustration. Not sure if it's from one of them or not. Scotty Ray nearly got the overlap on Simon Bishop, but they are 3 apiece right now with Gareth Collier and Alex Siddle all in this battle. 5 cars heading into turn 5 for the lead of this race.
I think what's happened is we've reached lap 4 and everyone's just realized, oh, I need to have 50% fuel here if I want to make it to lap 8. And they're all working, oh, maybe I need to save a little bit more. These front runners particularly need to save a little bit more. Whereas McEwen now is like, okay, I'm on target. I can keep pushing. And so he's got the extra speed and they're all sort of bunching back up again as the strategies ended up colliding. And it's all just go, isn't it? So potentially you don't actually want to be in the lead of this race. You want to be tucked into the slipstream in second and just saving a little bit down these straights to help you get to the halfway point.
Oh my goodness. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars. Less than half a second between each of them. Scotty Ray potentially is going to make a maneuver into the bus stop chicane, but they'll hit the braking zone. There's the brakes glowing on the side, but this is not a battle in the top 3 for the top spot. This is 9 drivers all going for it within very, very close quarters. Big Ed Ted nearly has a moment on the exit of the chicane. Matt McEwen now going for it around the outside of Scotty Ray. That'll bring Gareth Collier in, but you can see that Simon Bishop actually taking an alternative line, doesn't want to get the slipstream because he knows that people are saving fuel in that slipstream. Does inevitably actually give it to Matt McEwen, who's potentially going to come on through from Scotty Ray, though he'll have the inside line. This will come down to who's braver on the brakes into turn 1, or I'm starting to grip my teeth just in case, but Matt McEwen around the outside, sideways. There we go. It's not an overtake, but it is stylish.
Wow, we've seen that in a few of the road cars, haven't we? You can get away with these big moments, not lose too much time. But that, you know, he would have been stressed, I think, a little bit. He would have been hard in mouth. He doesn't want to have a spin here because all of the field will come past him. They're all still within touching distance.
Oh my gosh, look at it. It's a gaggle of cars. Is that the correct plural for cars? A gaggle? What is it? A bunch, a group, a flock? A flock of cars all trying to get the race win. Bad braking there from Scotty Ray, though. And he's gone into the back of Simon Bishop. No, nothing too bad as a result of it, but this will give Matt McEwen the ability to potentially come back on through turn number 6, just as they exit the infield onto the outfield section. Not the place to be making that overtake, but talk about line astern. They are single file, and this flock of cars is providing us some serious action. I love to see it. And finally, I can actually now get back to the little tidbit of information that I wanted to give out earlier on. So Nathan Howe, our league administrator, pops into chat. McEwen's livery, so look at that, the yellow, red, and grey one, appeared in a Need for Speed 2015 trailer and then never appeared again as he reaches P1.
Wow, past 2 cars on the straight there, just flat out, used a little bit of a toe, and then put his foot down to get the speed. He's gone past both of them. I wonder if they are both thinking, though, that they don't mind that. At this phase of the race, there's so much saving required. If they can tuck back in behind McEwen, follow him for a couple of laps, that might actually be to their benefit.
Honestly, at this point, whatever you can do to save fuel is going to be good. But McEwen might have just thought, you know, if I can just launch it, these guys are thinking about that fuel. Maybe I've saved enough. I could just use it to escape the pack. I mean, that's really it. I mean, we're playing essentially a totally different game right now. It's a game of escape the pack. Can you see these guys fighting? Oh, there's Scotty Ray trying the maneuver again. It hasn't worked out. Gareth Collier defending bravely is 3 wide on the exit for Ben, Big Head Ted, and Lewis Atkinson, who are all going for it. Oh, big contact between Ben and Lewis Atkinson. And then a huge send from Ben Groves. Brilliant stuff from him. He's elevated himself right through on Lewis Atkinson, who he almost came to blows with there on the exit of turn 2. Oh, this is absolutely thrilling racing that we're seeing at the moment. And we're on lap 7. I think next time we'll just have a 32-lap race here. This is absolutely brilliant. Back at the top, Simon Bishop defending from Scotty Ray. They haven't let Matt escape yet, and I think that's the key thing here. Do not let anyone escape at the top of the field. If you do, you're gonna be in trouble.
Oh man, just the back of that shot again, the Hooncorp cars were getting quite loose. Certainly, this is the critical part here. You need to be within touching distance on the exit. As Simon gets a little bit wide on the exit there, that's going to be Scotty up the inside. But this is where you've got to have the touching distance, and he's lost time as a result of that mistake. So 0.8 the gap, and that's going to cost him. He's not going to be able to just sit and save fuel. You want to be tucked right under the bumper of the car in front so that you can lift off the gas a little bit and not have so much accelerator on, not use so much fuel down the straight. That's the theory. But when you're that far back, he's going to have to put the foot down and try and just close the gap down the straight instead.
Exactly, and the worry here is that Scotty and Simon Bishop fighting too hard for this position. They should really be looking at maybe doing a bump draft. If they let Matt McEwen escape now, there's going to be all sorts of trouble for them in the race. They're not going to have that slipstream, and the front of the pack essentially becomes Simon Bishop. That is not the situation they need to be in. They need to start working together. For those of you who are familiar with NASCAR and oval racing, it is not about who is in first position when it gets to the end of the race. It's about the distance between P1 and yourself, and you've got to be right there to have a chance to win it. So for these guys here, if they end up fighting, if they end up squabbling over the P2, P3 positions, that's pretty much where they're set to finish.
And this is the critical lap now. We've reached lap 8, so who has got enough fuel in the tank to continue to keep pushing on this lap? Who is going to be just maximum saving to try and make it to the pit stops? It looks like they should all be in a reasonably similar position here to try and get through the lap. They'll still be saving as regular, but it's McEwen looking the strongest with that little bit of a gap he's got over the rest of the field.
Exactly. They've all just passed underneath 10% in fuel now, so we're going to be talking about a couple of litres difference at most. So 7 litres a second is the refueling rate, so you can save yourself a second in the pits if you've got 7 litres more than one of your competitors. 0.6 seconds is the gap out front. Scotty Ray trying again down the inside of turn 6. We said before, it's not the smartest place for an overtake. You just compromise yourself down the straight, and there you go. Now McEwen's out to a 1 second gap, so that move from Scotty Ray is actually helping Matt McEwen and completely ruining the chances they have to keep toe with him. They've managed to claw it back ever so slightly. Simon Bishop employing the old put your foot down on the accelerator strategy there, so excellent work by him. Dive Cable in the meantime, if he could just catch up a little bit. I mean, this is why I'm saying, Matt, that it'd be great to see these guys try and work together a little bit more here. If Big Head Ted and Dive Cable work together, they could catch up with Scotty Ray and Bishop. They could then push them ahead, get them in proper slipstream range of McEwen, and then we would be seeing a real battle evolve once again. But I'll tell you what, it is great to see 8 cars involved in the battle at the top.
It's still close, isn't it? And now the next question is going to be, after they come out of the pit stops, how hard do you push on those first couple of laps? Do you burn some extra fuel to try and get yourself track position, to try and get yourself a chance to catch up to McEwen? Or do you just go straight into fuel saving mode and try and save that fuel for later in the stint? That is the next decision they have to make. First, into the pit stops, they'll just set what they need to fuel up with. So it's just a couple of button clicks to get this set right. The question of whether they're going to change tires, there's not that much tire wear, so that could also be a difference here. You'll save yourself a few seconds if you don't take tires, and I imagine that might be what they're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. There's no need to be taking tires at this stage of the race. I mean, you're not going to get really a lot more out of them. And you know, we're already through halfway of the race. Nearly everyone, in fact, everyone is in the pits. So these are the only shots that we can bring you of cars being refueled. It was 5 litres though in Lewis Atkinson and Alex Little's car. Everyone else was on 1 or 2 litres. So there will be a little bit of a position jump there for Lewis Atkinson and Alex Little. Ben Groves might find himself in a little bit of trouble. Out we go, and it's busy. There's actually ghosting happening. Simon Bishop and Scotty Ray are on top of each other. This is allowed by the game in cases that this happens, and Simon Bishop wins out. Nearly a close call there. That gives McEwen just a little bit of an advantage, but we were in together, we're out together. These cars are tied together at the moment, and looking at the fuel amounts, looks like everyone's taking a full tank.
I think Lewis, who came in with 5 litres, he put 98 litres in. So he came out with a couple of litres less. He was trying to jump people in the pit stop. He's found himself in 6th position as a result. And I think Big Head Ted actually lost a couple of positions in that pit stop phase. So certainly that little bit of extra saving has made a bit of a difference. And now we're getting to see the question of, are they going to push on this outlap to try and close the gap? Are they willing to burn a bit of extra fuel now and try and recoup it later? And I think the answer might be yes, because they're close enough that they can catch up to McEwen here if they do this right.
Yep, exactly right. So let's see, Scotty Ray, will he go for the bump draft? No, he's going to try the overtake. I really don't think this is serving him as well as he might think. The position doesn't matter as much as how close you are to P1. That's going to compromise Simon Bishop. It's going to compromise himself. It's going to bring Gareth Collier into it. Although the gap at the front, McEwen didn't have a good run through that bus stop chicane. So at the moment, no escape for our leader in Matt McEwen. You bear in mind, got a bit of a lucky break in race 1 after Scotty Ray unfortunately put his GR010 into the wall. And while we're in this little bit of a lull period after the pit stops, well, actually, we're coming up to turn 1, so the lull's about to end. So we'll talk about that later. Oh my goodness, there's a little bit of contact. Matt McEwen and Simon Bishop, and Bishop has got a great slipstream run. This is exactly what we're talking about. This is what they need to be doing here. Put the pressure on Matt McEwen by essentially keeping him reeled in and put him behind the rest of the field. So Scotty Ray won't get the overtake there, but beautiful move by Simon Bishop.
You were saying there might be a car moment. Look how close they are. Oh, we get the beautiful wide angle. How many cars are there? 8 cars now in the fight for the lead. 1 car still just hanging on to the back of it. It is all go. And if they play their cards right, it's any of those 8 cars are in with a chance at this race. And just to confirm as well, while we've got the chance, none of the drivers took tyres. So they're all on the same tyres they started the race with. And they do have about maybe a quarter wear on that front right that's taking the most of the beating.
Oh, here we go, and side by side for Alex Little and I believe that's Ben Groves. So Lewis Atkinson now up into 5th place and challenging Dive Cable to get into those podium positions. A little bit of contact there. It's almost inevitable at this point. So no one's going to come away unscathed from this race today, I tell you what. Scotty Ray's just fallen slightly back from McEwen, but Simon Bishop not escaping the pack at all. So this is truly a 8-way fight for the lead of this race. And while we do have a very brief lull, a few thanks and shout-outs. I'll take a deep breath for this one. Of course, you are watching the GT New Zealand Championship here on NZ Sim Racing TV. Go and check us out on Facebook. And, of course, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube for all your racing action and many, many communities and leagues out there associated with the New Zealand Sim Racing Collective, who have been putting on this event, sponsored by New Zealand Esports and, of course, Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand. In the background, we have, of course, Hooncorp E-Sports administrating and TrackSpotTV bringing you the live broadcast alongside Hectic Motorsport. It's been a fantastic start to the second half of this season as we head to round 4. 6 rounds in total, and the chaos, it looks like, has only just begun. The bump drafting, finally we see it from Matt McEwen. This is the smart move, and he'll be frustrated that Scotty Ray's trying an overtake.
Well, McEwen's sitting there, and he has saved a couple of extra litres compared to these other drivers around him at the moment. So will he just be banking that to burn it later? He's got to stay at the pointy end, but so long as he's in the front few, he might be able to use that later to get past and get through.
Indeed, into turn 3 he goes. Scotty going to dive it up the inside on Simon Bishop, runs them both wide on the apex. Scotty Ray will take the lead of this race, and he's away again. This is the second time today that we have seen him on the top spot. And this time, it may not be quite as easy for him to build the gap that we saw him build in race 1. Matt McEwen, at the moment, I think just taking a cautious approach. Lewis has overtaken Gareth Collier and is now making the move on Matt McEwen. So this is the trouble with trying to save those extra litres of fuel or be consistent or conservative on the tyres. You get forced down the field. Matt McEwen, 4th position. There's a move in the background. Ben Groves wants to get involved in it with Alex Little. Not able to do so this time out, but Scotty Ray leads from Simon Bishop, from Lewis Atkinson up into the podium positions.
What a drive to be there from 9th on the grid. He has been playing this one beautifully, saving a lot of fuel in that first stint, just tucked down in the midfield, and now maybe reaping the benefits of that as he continues to push forward into the podium positions. And the question's still open. Who's going to be at the front at the end of this one? 5 laps to go. I'm not sure we have an answer yet.
Oh dear. I think that might be a penalty for Lewis Atkinson. He was very wide on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Oh, he is so lucky to have not picked up a penalty. You saw he was basically running off the apex, so well done from him. And 2-minute flat, 0.099 was his last lap, so good lap times, good consistent lap times as well. It's all up in the air, and we've got 5 laps to go at the end of this one. Coming across the race finish line now, and Matt McEwen wants to begin his charge back to the top of the field. As soon as he possibly can, he's going to try around the outside as Lewis dives down to the inside. What a move, but he's taken out Scotty Ray. That's a massive dive bomb from Lewis Atkinson. He knows he's made a mistake. He knows he's put the leader out of the race. And Scotty Ray, what luck he's had to be taken out by a dive bomb move into the first corner. That shows that, unfortunately, turn 1 was always going to be chaos. We knew it coming into this. But that is Scotty Ray yet again on the wrong side of the luck table.
And that is a disaster. We talk about turn 1, put a highlight on it as being the risky zone. And just late on the brakes, he was trying to make a move and defend the position was Lewis on Matthew McEwen. And so he was trying to be aggressive on the brakes, but he got it wrong. He acknowledged the mistake afterwards to pull off to the side, but Scotty Ray has got to be heartbroken in the box seat again. Both races tonight he's looked so strong, and that is the worst way for it to come unstuck.
Yeah, and Scotty Ray, look, if you're rewatching this, or if you're listening in out there, or if your family or friends are, I'll tell you what, take a bow, sir. You have shown a mighty amount of pace today. Incredible racecraft, strategy. Takes those unlucky things that have happened to you tonight, take nothing away from what you've been doing, I tell you what. And it's been brilliant to watch you succeed in that. And we are so gutted for you. And nonetheless, we return to the battle at the top. Simon Bishop leads Dive Cable, Gareth Collier, and Alex Little, followed by Big Head Ted and Matt McEwen, who are actually now a reasonable gap behind. There's just about 1.4 seconds, Matt. So it's all come to blows. 8 drivers vying for the top spot. Now we've got 2 battle packs of 3, led by Simon Bishop and Big Head Ted. And Dive Cable's in the box seat. I mean, this is the best news that Simon Bishop could have hoped for at this stage of the championship.
This has shaken up the order. That has been a big change. So Simon now actually has slightly more fuel than the 2 cars behind him. They've got a bit of a gap, as you were saying, down to 4th as McEwen aggressive to try and get past Big Head Ted. He knows he needs to get those moves done and try and catch up. Only 4 laps left to go. He's thinking about winning this race. He doesn't want to settle for 4th.
Whoa.
But all these drivers are thinking about winning it, aren't they? Crikey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The mousetrap has been set. The cheese is laid, and it's a high-quality cheese. It's a race win that they can grab, and Alex Little wants his chance at grabbing it without getting caught. He's been forced onto the dirt there by Gareth Collier and actually goes for the massive send. That's way too much. That's a poor overtake attempt from Alex Little. Gareth Collier will be hot under the collar as a result of that one. He'll have the outside line onto the outfield section, so should be able to get that position back from Alex Little. And it's tough racing out there in these cars. The quarters are so close, but again, we come back to the principle of working together. If they had worked together, they'd be still with Simon Bishop, but now they've got Matt McEwen, so the pack is reforming. Matt McEwen's looking like he's needing to get himself a couple of overtakes, opting to work together with Gareth Collier. That's the smart thing to do. Sly Ben the Cat. So Ben Groves is actually now back in this fight as well, along with Big Head Ted. So we're reforming a bit of a battle pack at the moment, but look at that, 1.8 seconds out the gap is the gap out front for Simon Bishop, led by Dive Cable, Alex Little, and a resurgent Matt McEwen, who's looking at that and going, I do not want my nearest competitor in the championship standings getting a decent handful of points after this race.
And it's going to be difficult though, isn't it? Sitting in 4th at the moment and with that gap to overcome. I'm not sure who you'd rather be, whether you want to be in this pack, working together, having a slipstream, as McEwen again doesn't have any option. He doesn't have a way through, or is he going to squeeze his way down the middle? McEwen!
Oh, there we go. McEwen in the middle, into the braking zone. Nothing Gareth Collier or Alex Little can do about that one. He'll have the apex, and it's here's the position. 2-for-1 deal. for Matt McEwen. That is brilliant racing from him, and all the cars behind completely out of shape, trying to figure out what on earth has just happened to them. Slide Ben is going to go for the move down the inside on Gareth Collier as well, but he's kind of overshot it, so that forces Gareth Collier out wide. And this is what we're talking about. The vultures are circling well and truly here at Daytona. 3 laps to go. 3 more times we will pass through this part of the circuit. Simon Bishop, 1.7 seconds the gap, and increasing at this stage as McEwen now needs to find a way to keep away from Ben Groves and Gareth Collier, who are coming up right behind him. Oh, Daytona has provided.
Oh, hectic moment contender right there. In between the 2 cars, down into the braking zone. Last on the brakes, gets the position. And it was critical too. Look how many car lengths he's pulled out, has McEwen, ahead of those cars he was battling earlier in the lap, or on the previous lap in fact. He's already gained a gap over them, and now it's a straight fight between him and Simon Bishop. Neither of them have the slipstream to contend with, but they both have fuel to try and manage to the end of this race. How can they make the most of the speed around this circuit while trying to manage that fuel to get to the end?
And I'll tell you what, don't count out Ben Groves right now. He's not in the same fuel situation as McEwen right now, but he is moving quickly, in that gap only 0.2 of a second, so there will be some contention for second place. Excuse me, for Ben Groves. I'll tell you what, this race has got itself lodged in my throat because I'm starting to struggle with my words at the moment. A little bit of a bump draft there from Ben Groves. It's a sensible thing to do, heading down to turn 1. Will there be another send? No. Looks like at this point they're going to play it sensible. 1.7 seconds. Oh, there is going to be a send. There it is, and he's overshot it by a mile. Ben Groves has tried. He's failed at doing it, and Matt McEwen will survive yet again. She was caught up in the previous send by Lewis Atkinson, so at the moment, Hooncorp cars in turn 1 is a bit of a send zone. We'll see if any other cars, any other liveried cars will do the same, but Gareth Collier now retakes P3, Matt. I'm out of breath.
He left it late, sprung the surprise, didn't work out though, too deep, and that's the awareness of McEwen though, isn't it? He's, even when it is a surprise last minute like that, he's able to see it, spot it, and react to it in time to get the exit he needed to get the spot back. So McEwen, he's a tough to beat, but right now, Simon Bishop in a strong position to do it. Can he be the one to close out this race from the lead? He can't afford to make any mistakes on these final 2 laps. It's a critical few kilometers left to go in this race.
Oh, good exit for Collier. Puts the turn signal on, or the hazard lights on. One of them's out at the back, so I think the police will be hitting him up about that one. You're not allowed to have lights that don't work on the rear of your car. Ben Groves going to be taking the inside line. Might be a send on Gareth Collier into turn 1, hopefully for him a more successful one. Then I saw Big Head Ted as well getting very, very loose on the exit of 6. So into the bus stop chicane we go. Close quarters between these 4 drivers. That's Matt McEwen, that's Gareth Collier, and then the rest. And back there, that is going to be Amit Biswas, who's managed to survive all this. Where is Scotty Ray? Yeah, Scotty Ray unfortunately is well down the pack, as is the rest of them. So Lewis Atkinson and Clam Fever are way off the pace on this one now. They are right at the back of the grid. 2.4 second gap coming onto the final lap of this race. Simon Bishop is looking like the contender who's going to take some points away from McEwen. He would have loved to see McEwen be finishing a lot further down the field. At the moment, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
No, McEwen has had a strong one, hasn't he? He's had to battle against it. Got a little bit tangled up with that drama at turn 1. It cost him some time, but he continues to fight back. He continues to charge on as ever and has pace, but on the last lap, it might not be enough to close the gap. Yep,
indeed. Another slightly passive attempt there by Ben Groves, trying to throw Gareth Collier off his racing line so far. Unsuccessful. Another opportunity coming up into turn 5. Hard braking zone, this one. Nope, going to play it sensible. And to be honest, at this point, you really want to be looking at where do you line up the car for this last oval section. Nail the bus stop chicane, get a good exit. That's where you're going to get the overspeed. If you can go for the side slipstream around that final oval section, then you're in a good spot. Bad run for Gareth Collier onto the oval section. So this is what Sly Ben has been looking for. Alex Little in behind with Big Ed Ted in tow. It's going to be potentially an overtake here. And remember, this is for the final podium position. This is for third place in this race. Race 2 of round 4 here on the 3rd of August for the GT New Zealand Championship. It's all go. Alex Little going for the move. He's blocked by Ben Groves. That's a bit of an interesting maneuver there to try and block, and Alex Little had the overspeed but has to now back out of it. Into the bus stop chicane we go for the final time in this race. Gareth Collier holding on to the top position as much as possible. 4 in sequence, and we go around. 1.2 seconds the gap at the top. It's come down a lot, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The final straight now, his only thing he needs to do is not run out of fuel. Looks like they're both very, very low on fuel, but no one running out of fuel at the moment. And Simon Bishop picks up the win in race 2 of round 4. There's the checkered flag, and that livery that we will hopefully never see again has granted him the race win today in amongst the chaos that was Daytona. Dive Cable and Gareth Collier does manage to hold on to 3rd place in this one, with Ben Groves, Alex Little, and Big Ed Ted rounding out the top 6. Wow. Close quarters racing, super intense. These LC500s at Daytona Road Course at night has been a spectacle to behold.
Wow, and it was all on, wasn't it? They just couldn't pull away from each other for so long in that race, kept it close until Simon Bishop got that gap after the pit stops, pulled away, didn't look back, and for the second time this season, he has managed to pick up a race win and take the win away from Matthew McEwen.
Indeed, indeed. So there we go. That is round 4 complete, and we will head to our results screen in a few moments' time, and then we'll be looking forward to having a chat with these guys, because tonight has been super eventful, and yeah, looking forward very much to have a chat with Simon Bishop, Matt McEwen, and of course Gareth Collier. Let's take a little look at the results in a few moments' time. But I tell you what, the fuel strategy was relatively key, but the most key thing was those mistakes and staying in the slipstream. Simon Bishop finds himself in the race win, fastest lap to Matt McEwen, but only 2nd there. Dive Cable in 3rd place with Ben Groves in 4th. Alex Little in 5th with Reese Davidson in 6th. Amit Biswas in 7th. And then, of course, Scotty Ray in 8th. What could have been for him at the front today in both races. Crimson and P9, followed by Lewis Atkinson in 10th. Then it is 11th for Clam Fever, and of course 12th for Scar, who unfortunately did not finish today's race. Wow, ladies and gentlemen in chat, let us know what you thought of today's racing. Very, very intense out there at Daytona Oval. Matt, give us that breakdown while we wait for some guys to jump into the commentary box for an interview.
It was a juggling act, really, wasn't it, in that race, about how hard you wanted to push versus sort of positioning yourself to try and save fuel early on. We saw them sort of working it out over those first 4 laps, and then I think around lap 4, everyone clicked that they were all on the same strategy. They all need to try and conserve to get to lap 8 to make it the one stop. And that's what kept the field so close, is that balancing act that they were all trying to juggle. In the end, it was Simon Bishop who managed it the most, but it was partly because of that big drama down at turn number 1. Lewis and Scotty coming together, unraveled there for Scotty, unfortunately, and that sort of spread the field out a little bit and changed the dynamic in the race for the second half of that race. And in the end, Simon Bishop ahead of McEwen. They managed it nicely. McEwen had a few overtakes thrown his way. Everyone was certainly aggressive trying to get past him, but he continued to fight on and didn't let it phase him, as he never does.
Indeed, and it looks like we have Simon Bishop waiting for an interview, so we'll drag him in now, and we'll see you over there for the interview. Simon, welcome into the commentary box. It is great to have you in here, and congratulations on the race 2 win. How are you feeling after that?
Very much a high and low evening. The first race, not so good. Second race, can't believe it. Can you guys believe it? I'd done no practice for that.
Oh, okay. Well, we couldn't believe what we were seeing on screen. It was entertainment everywhere. There was 9 cars battling for the top spot. There was the incident, so to speak, down into turn 1 that you narrowly avoided. Were you expecting chaos at a race like this today?
I sort of was and wasn't. Like, I heard Lewis coming because I've been trialing using the roof cam, so I don't have any radar at all. But I heard a lot of tire squeals, and I was like, uh-oh. And I kind of pulled right a bit, and sure enough, Lewis went flying through. And so it was a bit unfortunate for Scotty. He had a hard night, particularly considering I was being a real pain in his ass in that first half. But yeah, it was just, I saw it coming sort of, and then I was just really lucky to get by. And then when I saw that Dive Cable and Pure Axle were battling and I could get to that 1.5 and get out of the tow, I was like, right, let's go. And then when McEwen made his charge at the end, I was like, come on. But we made it, so it was good.
So talk to us a little bit about that fuel strategy. I mean, I can already see the comments going off in the general discussion of the events channel. Talk to us a little bit about that fuel saving. What was the key strategy today for getting that? Was it the slipstream? Was it holding back? We saw you go for that early overtake on Matt McEwen, which really threw him to the vultures behind, which seemed to be great initially, but then he had the overspeed. He had a little bit of a fuel advantage as well. It sort of went back and forth a lot.
Yeah, you're right. It did. I got an amazing start off the grid. It would be like the best one I've ever done. I almost made it 6th to 1st. That was a great start. And then I told Matt before the race that I wasn't going to bother with any of this fuel saving malarkey. And what I didn't realise is that the race was 4 laps longer than I thought. So eventually I had to go back into the fuel saving. But once I got the track position, I kind of knew that was okay because I could sort of dictate the pace if I just was slow in all the bits where they couldn't pass me and fast enough in the bits they could. And then I kind of felt like when I got into the pits that all these guys were going to have like 10 litres more than me and they were going to disappear up the road and I was just going to be sad and lonely, but then it just didn't pan out that way. So it was pretty good. I came out literally inside Scott, as you would have seen, and then got lucky to get back into 2nd, and then yeah, I knew Matt would be pretty quick and I knew that those guys had speed over me, so I had to do something different and worked out.
Indeed. So I'm going to give you to Matt Smith here for a question, and then I'll be back with you.
Yeah, well done. Congrats obviously on the win there, Simon. That was great. And 2nd place in the first race, also a strong result. I was just having a look at my notes. You did pick up a couple of penalties in race number 1, if we're rewinding to Le Mans. What happened there? Was it just a couple of mistakes that you were making running wide in a couple of those corners?
Well, it started in qualifying when I messed that up. I was pretty grumpy about that. And then I got flipped into the sand, and then the game gave me a penalty for going into the sand, which did not make me very happy. And then I was just kind of like driving like a grumpy old man for the rest of it. Just like, right, I'm just going to go for it. And then it kind of, I'd resigned myself to 3rd, and then Scotty obviously had his unfortunate spin, and then Matt lost time somehow, and I was like, hang on, I'm back in this, but that's sort of a what could have been. But yeah, I was pretty grumpy about the penalties. But I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
You certainly were not the only one, that is for sure. So as we head into the second half of the season, well, now we're 1 race in, 2 races remaining. Obviously, you've clawed back a few points in that 2nd race tonight. You know, we talked to you, I think it was last round, a little bit about the championship and how you're feeling in it. Does this give you that extra motivation, that little wind in your sails that you might need to push forward in the championship and really start to push Matt under pressure?
To some degree, yeah. Matt will be hard to beat, as he always is. I felt like I probably could have got him in both, well, in the first race certainly, and then second race obviously had no idea. But we'll see how we go. I can only control how fast I can go. I can't really control how fast he goes, so we'll just carry on. And we had a good battle in the first race too, so I actually really enjoyed that. I hope you guys saw it on the stream when we were side by side in the Toyotas, which was pretty cool. So that's the sort of stuff that I enjoy, and so we'll just see how it goes, I think.
Absolutely, and we did definitely catch that. It was a very, very skillful moment of racing from both of you guys. And to round things out, before we let you go, your livery is going to be fixed for next round, yes?
What was that?
Your livery is going to be fixed and slightly better for next round, I hear?
Yeah, could you tell I did them this week?
Yes, we could.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, maybe it's good luck to have my face plastered all over them. I bet Scotty's going to have nightmares of my KFC face because he would have seen the entire thing for that first stint. But yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, again, congratulations on the win tonight. Fantastic work, and we'll hope to see you back in the interview box next round in round 5.
Hope so too. Always a pleasure.
Likewise. Thanks very much. All right, that was Simon Bishop, ladies and gentlemen, wins in race 2 and second in race 1. Now we're going to bring in Gareth Collier, for our next interview. So let's drag him in here. Gareth, welcome in to the commentary box, mate. Great to have you in here. First of all, tell us a little bit about that race too. The Lexuses at Daytona. That was wild.
That was pretty hectic, eh? I knew it was going to be close with everyone, but I didn't realize it was going to be that close. It was, yeah, very hectic. Lots of hectic moments for Monkey Matt.
He's going to have a hard time getting through all of them, I think. But we had 1.9 cars vying for P1. You were amongst them as well. You were fighting for a while in that sort of P6, P7 area. Then we had some dive bombs, some chaos happened, and at that point, you know, you were elevating yourself. You were dodging cars going left and right at one point through turn 1.
Yeah, there was a bit of luck in that. I think for somebody like myself to get up to the top, it takes a lot of luck. Really, pretty stoked that I managed to get through it. I'm sure Lewis probably feels quite bad, but yeah, I stayed out of it, and it was a good race compared to race 1. Yeah, it was really good.
Exactly right. And the GR010s, they're tricky cars to drive on the best of days. Then you take them to Le Mans, where small mistakes have big impacts. Was that your feeling through that first race? You know, every time you race, it's good if you learn something, and I learned that the race ending of 1 minute 20 was actually for the race end, not for the qualifying. So when I was just under 2 minutes to complete the last lap, I knew that I couldn't get there in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so I skipped out. But then when it finished, and then there was another 3 minutes, I was like, oh, I pretty much lost out. So it's okay. Learning day. Learning is good. Yeah, learning is always good, and that's the attitude that everyone's got to take in sim racing and in life, of course, as well. So talk to us a little bit about your expectations for next round. It's going to be a pretty tricky couple of combinations. If I just look at my sheet right here, we've got the Toyota GR Supras at Bathurst, and then we've got the Lexus RCF GR2 cars at Fuji Speedway. You got a preference out of those two?
I have not even looked at them, but I'm sure I'll have to do heaps and heaps of testing and practice, not like some of these other jokers that just rock up and, you know, and take up all the podium positions. You know, yeah, good fun though.
Absolutely right. Well, before we let you go, any shout outs you'd like to make out there, and then we'll go on to our next interview.
Yeah, Scar was actually helping me. He was being a bit of a race spotter there at the end. I've never stayed in a party, particularly how Ted was complaining about a party being, you know, disrupting his race pace last time out. So it was pretty good having Scar there telling me, giving me pointers of where everyone was around me. So cheers, Scar.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best for the next round, Gareth. Hopefully we talk to you before the end of the season. And yeah, congratulations on tonight's results, mate. Well deserved.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you very
much. Bye.
Fantastic. And of course, we have one more interview lined up, Matt. It is going to be Matt. So I'll tell you what, Matts can talk to Matts.
Can we this week?
We can. I'm allowing it.
Matt McEwen, welcome in. Commiserations for not getting the win there. You drove well in the second race, but you got the win in race number 1. How would you summarize tonight's action?
Oh, well, I'm knackered. It was a long night of racing. Honestly, the vast majority of the first race I spent planning how I was going to word my speech congratulating Scotty on a job well done and a future that looked very, very bright, and still does actually, since he's had such a good run in the series and he's just getting better and better. And I just went through the entire race going, okay, well, I'm never catching that guy. I might as well just focus on not screwing up and letting Simon past. And then he went and killed himself into the wall, and wow, yeah, that's really unfortunate. I feel really bad for him after 2 really bad races, because he just had incredible pace, and for both races to end up like that has got to be absolutely gutting.
Absolutely, definitely feel for Scotty there, but like you say, he shows the pace and he's shown the promise now that we can all sort of witnessed and we all are aware of now and believe in that pace that he's got. I'm sure we'll see him back at the pointy end for the rest in the future rounds in the season. But I just want to touch on as well, race number 2. Were you ready for exactly what we saw out there?
No, I wasn't. I don't even know what to say. I do think I've got a submission for the hectic moment of the race, 3 wide that ended up being a dive bomb into P2, but oh man, there was just so much chaos and different fuel strategies. It ended up actually being quite a lot of fun, to be honest, although it was actually extremely stressful at the same time. So I'm not sure. I hope that ever happens again. But if it does, I know that it's going to be exciting, to say the least.
Absolutely. We know exactly the moment you're referring to. Yeah, we spotted that one. We saw that play out. That was awesome. I think there's certainly going to be a few moments throughout that race from different drivers that they could submit as well. There was a lot of close racing between the front group.
Yeah. I spent a bit of time off track trying to dodge some problems, and then Sly Ben decided to go for a sly move, and it didn't really work. Which thankfully he did decide to go to the inside so that he didn't kill me in the process. But yeah, no, I really, considering Simon told me that his 3 practice laps that he'd done before the race were his only ones, I wasn't really expecting him to just go and drop a win, but of course when everyone else gets stuck into a battle behind, it's always going to turn into a bit of a, he can just chill and save fuel in front of us, and I just kind of got caught up with everything, and everyone else kind of died, and I couldn't really catch up, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I've learned not to trust maybe Simon's practice comments, because he always shows up and is so quick, so you can't sort of count him out, even if he says he's not done many laps of practice. But it was still a strong night for yourself. You still lead the championship. How are you feeling about that heading into the final 2 rounds?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with the current position. I can't get too much better than that, and so obviously at any point I could have done better in the 2 races that didn't end up with a 1 next to them. But obviously coming into the last 2 rounds, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'd have to really do something pretty crazy or get a bit unlucky with a big bad move or something for it to really come crashing down, but it's always a possibility, and so I can't chill out yet.
Absolutely right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll give you a chance as well to shout out anyone you want on stream now.
Oh well, it's got to be Scotty. He's just had incredible pace for these 2 races, and if things had gone just a tiny little bit differently, I think that we would have been seeing 2 first places from him, and then we'd actually be going, hold on, what happens next year? Suddenly it's not just me and Simon with dive cable in the fray, it's Scotty going, hold on, these guys aren't as quick as I thought they were, let's go and take the crown.
Absolutely right, it was a mega drive. I think there's a number of drivers that are now in the fray, which is awesome to see. But thank you for coming and joining us, McEwen. We'll see you back here next week as you continue to hunt down this championship.
Hopefully.
Fantastic. Great to hear from Matt McEwen once again, race winner in race number 1, and of course picks up that 2nd place in race 2. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be our stream for tonight. Round 4 done and dusted, 2 rounds remaining, and let's look ahead to what happens on the 10th of August. So it'll be the same place, same time, New Zealand Sim Racing TV on YouTube. The Toyota GR Supras at Bathurst on the Sports Soft. It's going to be sideways, it's going to be up, it's going to be down, it's going to be chaotic. Make sure you tune in for that one. And of course the Lexus RCF Group 2 cars, they're going to be speedy, they're going to be quick, and boy oh boy, at the Fuji Speedway, this is going to be some intense racing to behold. Matt, before we go, obviously things are, I don't want to say cooling down in the championship. The lead is slightly extended there for Matt McEwen in the championship. These last 2 rounds though, it's going to provide a challenge, and I think to echo what Matt McEwen did say a few moments ago, Scotty Ray, what pace he was on today. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. He really stepped up and delivered in this round, didn't he? And he really puts a question mark above the names of all the other drivers, put them on notice with his pace in both of those races. Yes, he didn't get the result at the end of the race, but he definitely showed the pace that he can produce. And if he can continue that over the next couple of rounds, we might have another race winner in our national championship.
We may well. And of course, we'll see you back here for that 5th round on the 10th of August. This, of course, has been the GT New Zealand Championship put on by New Zealand Sim Racing Collective here on the NZ Sim Racing TV YouTube channel, supported and sponsored by New Zealand Esports and Toyota GAZOO Racing New Zealand, with the broadcasting brought to you by TrackSpotTV and the administration of the series through Hooncorp E-Sports and Hectic Motorsport. It has been a pleasure bringing you round 4, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Cook. I've been joined with Matthew Smith in the commentary box. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll see you back here on Monday, the 10th of August for round 5. Until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.